The Joker is a recurring supervillain from DC Comics and is the archenemy of Batman. In the many books and movies about the Joker, he is portrayed as an unpredictable, bloodthirsty, crazy psychopath that wants to see the world burn. Hence his nicknames like Clown Prince of Crime, the Ace of Knaves, and the Jester of Genocide. Now, the movie Joker, released in 2019, shows us a more in-depth look into the psychology of this character and slightly reveals his philosophical positions towards life and modern society. This video explores the psychological as well as the philosophical side of the Joker based on Jungian psychology and the philosophical ideas of Albert Camus. Beware, this video contains spoilers. The Joker's life starts out as tragic. Arthur, which is his real name, lives with his sick mother named Penny Flagg that he takes care of religiously. In return, she validates him for being a good person. The movie shows that Arthur takes pride in the fact that he is indeed a very good person and that his purpose in life is to put a smile on people's faces in the cold, harsh world we live in. Also, his mother taught him to always put on a happy face towards the outside world. He has a job as a clown to entertain children, and his dream is becoming a successful stand-up comedian. So Arthur grows up as a people pleaser, or as someone whose life revolves around serving others and make people happy, his mother in particular, while disregarding his own needs. He fantasizes about an audience that likes him, and external validation seems to be his life breath. Later becomes clear that beyond the surface of Arthur's personality grows a huge, ugly monster that he doesn't seem to be aware of. Snippets of this monster come out sometimes, in the form of a laugh that he cannot control. Even though his condition is brushed off as a sickness, he later tells his mother that it's not. The laughs are really part of his personality. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung wrote extensively about the phenomenon called the shadow, which I've made a separate video about. The shadow is a set of personality traits that are deemed undesirable either by the person itself or the environment, but often both, and therefore these traits are pushed away into the unconscious. According to Jung, everyone carries a shadow, but the more it is repressed, the denser it becomes. Arthur's clown face symbolizes the persona, the false self that we show the environment, while the uncontrollable laughs can be considered the manifestations of an utterly dense shadow that Arthur is unaware of. After all, he sees himself as a good person, until he receives a gun after he has been beaten up by a bunch of boys in an alley. When three so-called yuppies attack him on a subway train, Arthur, while dressed up as a clown, kills two out of self-defense and chases after the third one and murders him. From this point, Arthur discovers what evil he is really capable of, and that he isn't that good of a boy that his mother tells him he is. Probably, he spent his life living the image that his mother has created for him, ignoring everything that festered in the darkness. In regards to Arthur's relationship with his mother, we could say that she partly fulfills Jung's devouring mother archetype. The devouring mother feeds on her own fruits, her children, because they validate her role as a mother. I suspect that she has been clinging on to him in a way that he never obtained the skills to, metaphorically, leave the womb and establish himself in the world. Despite the apparent abuse in his childhood, Arthur indeed stays at his mother's side, and we can sometimes see glimpses of spossification, in which the child takes on the role of the parent's spouse. Now, Arthur's killings on the subway train lead to an explosion in the media. His own shadow manifestations seem to resonate with a large collective shadow that has been growing in the poor areas of Gotham City, resulting in violent protests, with "Kill the Rich" as a slogan. The mysterious clown that killed the rich guys that worked for Thomas Wayne, a famous physician, philanthropist, and Batman's father, is seen as a hero of the city's economically marginalized. Jung noticed the danger of collective shadows during the Nazi uprising in Germany, saying, "The change of character brought about by the uprush of collective forces is amazing. A gentle and reasonable being can be transformed into a maniac or a savage beast. One is always inclined to lay the blame on external circumstances, but nothing could explode in us if it had not been there." End quote. We see this manifest itself in the increasing violence and brutality of the protesters. Also, we can see a complete disregard for the collective shadow by Thomas Wayne, who calls the protesters clowns and patronizes them by saying that he has the solution for their unfortunate state. Arthur, however, doesn't really seem to have hatred for rich people specifically. He just can't stand the fact that people are so cruel to each other nowadays. He later admitted that this was the reason why he killed the three yuppies, his former co-worker and TV show host Murray Franklin. Nevertheless, he becomes a martyr for the collective shadow. Arthur doesn't really get to the individuation phase. Rather, he is completely taken over by his shadow. Because he wasn't aware of it in the first place, the monster inside was able to grow beyond his control when it comes out as the Joker. But we do see brief moments of self-awareness during his transition. He seems to experience the shadow coming to the surface as a manifestation of his true self, saying, "Through my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed, but I do, and people are starting to notice." Arthur is delusional and psychotic. This becomes clear when all of his interactions with his neighbor and crush, Sophie Dumont, were just his fantasy, which could be a product of his intense loneliness and desire for companionship. When he finds out, he becomes aware that there's something not right in his mind. But the final blow is the revelation of the truth about his mother and himself as a son. It turns out that his mother had an affair with Thomas Wayne in the past and claims that Arthur is their illegitimate child. Arthur snaps at his mother because of this and confronts Wayne, who tells him the truth. His mother adopted him. When Arthur finds out what his mother did, he kills her by choking her with a cushion. He says afterward that he always thought that his life is a tragedy, but now realizes that it's a comedy. At that moment, he merges with his new identity, the Joker, and his philosophical view on the world shifts from being an agent for good to the acceptance that life is nothing more than a comedy show. Now we arrive in the domain of French Algerian philosopher Albert Camus, who believed that life is absurd. In his novels, we can see that when we look at the circumstances and the way life plays out. There's not much to say for true universal morality and ethics. Everything seems to happen randomly. Arthur makes a similar conclusion when he states that when three rich yuppies that happen to work for Thomas Wayne are killed, the whole city is in turmoil. But when something similar would happen to him, no one would bat an eye. Comparable to the thoughts of Camus, he questions the validity of what is good and what is bad, or specifically, what is funny and what isn't. He sees that these things are decided by society and that we judge each other based on a normative framework that is not universal but just a product of the human mind. In his novel The Stranger, Camus tells us about a character named Meursault who kills an Arab man who has a dispute with his friend Raymond. Before this event, Meursault's mother dies. The fact that he didn't show emotions at the funeral annoyed and amazed his environment. When he is on trial for killing the Arab, he is sentenced to death, mainly because of his emotionless appearance during his mother's funeral. What Camus shows here is a man that was simply himself and hardly shows emotions outwardly, not even when his mother dies. But because this behavior deviates from the norm, society sees him as a suspect. When you think of it, it's kind of absurd to sentence someone to death almost entirely based on being a bit different from what's perceived as normal in a certain culture. In a similar way, calling people clowns because they think differently and act differently is kind of absurd as well. So the Joker comes to the conclusion that the current system of morals and ethics is kind of ridiculous and that he is going to decide for himself what's good and bad. But by doing so, he raised himself to the position of judge, who feels that killing bad people is justified. At the same time, he points out that the riots and the killings are simply a matter of cause and effect. You get what you deserve, he says, before he shoots Murray Franklin. The Joker embraces the absurd, in which he finds freedom and empowerment. He changes his position towards life, from tragedy to comedy. And because it's a comedy, it transcends all existing morals and ethics into chaos. I guess that this makes him so unpredictable. What's good at one moment could be bad in another. What does it matter? It's one big joke anyway. From Camus' philosophical viewpoints, I suspect that he doesn't fear God either, because the absurd man knows that if there's a godlike being, it's probably completely indifferent towards the affairs of human beings. The absurdity of life, the unfairness, the randomness, the realization that being evil often pays and being good doesn't, is evidence that supports that conclusion. Now, we could see the absurdity of life as an opportunity to find our own sense of fulfillment and meaning. Unfortunately, being subjected by an utterly dense shadow, the Joker's embrace of the absurd unfolds in chaos and destruction. Thank you for watching.
Are you crying? Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in foosball.
You fucking cried after 3 days in the fucking holding tank. Looked like a fucking pile of wet rags at court. You should see how I showed up to court after 3 days in the box with the light on.
Please, is there anything I can do, sir? Please.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
Don't do this to my wife, man. You don't know what you're doing to my family, man.
Does he look like a bitch?
Sir, please don't make me sleep in jail tonight, sir. Please. I'm begging you.
We're not criminals.
They're going to make me sleep in jail.
Continue. You were saying something about best intentions?
Josh has never been arrested for recording.
Okay, so that's him getting arrested, and then his friend here makes a phone call that I want to touch on.
$1796, so we're going back a ways, and you know how stupid people were back then and how smart everyone is now. I mean, that's clear. The majority, quote, shall prevail is a rule posterior to the formation of government and results from it. It is not a rule binding upon mankind in their natural state. There, every man is independent of all laws, except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow man without his consent. Holy crap. Holy cows, man. Imagine that concept, huh? Yeah, well, you could just step back from it and imagine just one generation after the next incarnating here, you know, the pure conscious and awareness that we call the Holy Spirit, just kind of, you know, reduced down to what seems to be an individual state, and it's just one crop after the next. They come here, they focus on all the crap and the ways of the world, you know, they're a part of all the things that the system wants them to be a part of, and they just stay away from all that other stuff the system tells them not to be a part of, including upholding rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, and being a whacked out sovereign citizen, right? And it just happens to work perfectly, but not so much anymore, because folks like myself are talking common sense from a common core energetic position that kind of is somewhat relatable to all people at this time, more and more as we experience as well. So we're on divine timing here, right? Everything is as it should be. It's perfect in its imperfection. And as we move forward, more and more folks will realize, oh, that's the reason that we incarnate in this realm and what we're actually doing here. It wasn't all the side quests, right? It's just like a video game. You got the main missions and then you got side quests. How many folks buy Grand Theft Auto, whatever the games are, where they have the open world, and instead of going on the mission to complete the game or develop their character attributes, spend time at the strip club in the game, right? Fucking the hooker only to kill her and throw her in the trunk because it's interesting, we want to see what's going to happen. It's cool. You know, so that's the metaphor in a way. That's the allegory of what we have going on here. We have an open world simulation. There's main missions that are programmed into the game, and then there's side quests and fuck off time. And most folks never take on the main missions because they spend their whole time side questing and fucking off. Most of the audience and most people are not going to come to watch and listen because they're going to have to do some fucking work, and they're lazy, procrastinating, cowardly slaves.
God damn it, Paul.
That's most of the audience of the United States corporation, if you haven't noticed. So they're always going to water seeks its own level. Right, so that's one way of putting it forth that we would buy into and would make sense. In a way, what you would have to say is, I'm too good, or I'm too real. I'm too focused on what's important and what's meant to happen, that most don't want to focus on or activate for, right? The people who are ahead of their time, who are doing what needs to be done, who are sacrificing to put themselves and their life on the line to get it done and having results, they're not going to be propped up. They're not going to be as well known. Maybe once they die a couple hundred years after that, someone will take some more notice, right? The flock, the masses, the Babylonians tend to stay in their cults. Right. Absolutely. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We're back at it. We're heavily shadow banned right off the top. You can tell only 30 live viewers 20 minutes in, as opposed to 100 to 150 last broadcast. So like, share, subscribe, all that garbage. Get it out. Break down the walls of Jericho, so to speak. We'll go right into some audience interaction. I had a whole bunch of stuff prepared. I may or may not go to it today. I may decide to go to it tomorrow or the next broadcast. Just because I think that it should be heard and seen by more people. And maybe that's my ego, and I should check that and not even worry about the numbers and all the rest of it. But we like that. We like when YouTube and Google doesn't bother us and interfere with us, and we get a 200 to 400 live viewers and 10 to 20,000 after the fact. MJB, let's address MJB, because a lot of folks come here, they don't know what they're doing. They presume they do, and then they don't know what I'm doing, but they presume they do. And then we have to create some clarity. So MJB, you're absolutely welcome to call in 602-730-0122. The link is down there as well. You got to type it in. It may not be clickable. You can thank Google and YouTube for that as well. They can't get their shit together. None of these multi-billion, trillion-dollar corporations can get their shit together, including United States, self-defined as a corporation. He said a common core experience, in quotes, you cannot make up how stupid the schools have made you people. So I don't know who you people is, and you missed the boat because I am using the term common core to play off of their lingo and to elucidate and illuminate the revelation. And the revelation is that we all have a spirit within us, an aspect of self that is connected to the universe and each other, and seemingly is connected to a higher order process, aka what we call the law, universal law, what's true and what's right. And localized, it would be a conscience-based endeavor or experience. So I'm playing off of the state and the matrix and all of their language and the way they do things, and then I'm using that to facilitate the revelation, right? To remind self and other selves that there's only one self on the highest level, the truth, life, and way, or what you and others would have heard as the story of Jesus, right? Which is an anthropomorphized story about an experience that we all can have and potentially be a part of, right? So I don't actually use the term common core when it comes to education and all the rest of it. As far as where I stand, the public fool system is indoctrination. Okay, so again, proof of how easy it is to show you guys are manipulatable and suggestible. Even when I'm playing off the nonsense and pointing out that it's nonsense, you accuse me of being part of the nonsense. Okay, and I get it. A lot of folks are kind of, wary nowadays. They can't trust anybody and anything, including themselves and their own eyes or their ears. But that's why I'm here to answer your questions, to create some clarity. So look out for that. I'm going to do that more and more, I'm sure. Use their lingo to play off of their worldly ideas and then reveal or remind about the other worldly ideas. So there is, in fact, a common core experience here. the core of our beingness. Notice they'll say, I'm doing Illuminati now. This is a bridging hand motion, right? Some of us from the East Coast, Irish, Italians, and others, we talk with our hands. It doesn't mean we're Illuminati, right? So this is a bridging hand motion. This is a completing hand motion. This is a hand motion representing almost the broken halves of our being, the sacred masculine and feminine, being reunited. Okay, so you got to have the heart-based care to do what's true and what's right. That's a sacred feminine, a sacred masculine principle. We can only do that with holistic discernment. Okay, merging of the left and right brain, mind and heart. We could go down the list of the paradoxical dualism that is reconciled through this practice. Are you trapped? Well, yes and no. I am apparently, as are you, potentially, eternal truth, pure conscious and awareness, having a human experience in this vessel, and this vessel is somewhat limiting, right? So, am I trapped? Kinda. I'm in bondage, right? Spirit bound to the flesh, clay and iron. Do I perceive it as trapped? No. I'm not a hell realm or victim, right? We're here for the ride, the ups and downs, the thrills and the chills, and we're all going to see where it goes. And along the way, potentially, we're going to fumble fuck our way to an understanding, right? We're going to do everything wrong first in order to realize how to do everything right. That's potentially the idea. So nobody's going to point out how this guy is the Illuminati. No, I already pointed that out for you guys. Living in a trailer, by the way. I am one of the only members of Illuminati who comes here to remind you about rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, upholding the law, even showing my experiences while living in a trailer. Okay. Illuminati's got a whole new division. I received notification. Yeah, you did. But obviously not many others did. So again, YouTube and Google, we know. We've already caught them. We've got them dead to rights. Many other folks have experienced the same thing. And from time to time, we break through that. They don't do that. And the majority of the time, they do that, right? So ultimately, all it is like I keep saying, another experience universally to get us to court to sue these people. And that's going to sound crazy. Everything sounds crazy when you pursue greatness. You're used to being around a bunch of loser, failures, slacker slaves who don't want to do anything to change the situation while not even complaining. Like some of them complain and don't do anything. Most of them don't complain. They think this is all normal. For the rest of us, awakened spirits, so to speak, we recognize from day one, oh, this is completely fucked up. Oh, this needs to stop. This needs to change. And then the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? So obviously learning legal and lawful, getting results at court over and over again, as we now pivot to this idea that we're going to have to sue Google and YouTube and maybe even Elon. Everyone's one of our 3 or 4. How many daddies do we have at this point? At least 2 daddies in New World Order, but 3 or 4. We may have to sue Donnie. We may have to sue Elon. We may have to sue whoever is interfering with our property and rights. May have to sue Billy Bob up in the plane. Who I need to show you this map. I got to find it again. Found it 6 months ago and let it go to the back burner, and then I pull it forth again, right? Because it still applies. I got a map of aircraft where it just shows the aircraft in just over the cities flying back and forth. That's all it does. It's all these planes do. And they say it's not chemtrails, right? They're going to gaslight you about everything. We know that. Just expect to be gaslit. Just don't allow it to cause you to go crazy and doubt yourself. We know we grew up with clear skies. We know that this is all ridiculous what we're seeing now in the skies. We know that after they spray the sky down, there's always a storm or hail or some weird stuff, condensation. We now know that Florida's banning chemtrails along with vaccines and other stuff because, hello, we're starting to finally wake up on some level, it seems. Right on time when the planned economic hit is going to happen, right? The Greater Depression, along with World War III, if the Luciferians with Shaitan, the deceptions, get it done. I don't think it's going to happen. I think God's got another trick up its sleeve. The universe has another trick up its sleeve. So, yeah, the map is fascinating. You get to go on there. It shows the number of the plane, shows what the plane does, and it'll say like civilian contractor, some bizarre language to basically say it's some slave they hired to do their contracting work for whatever corporate garbage they're involved in. And what's the corporate garbage always involved in? Well, destroying humanity for profit is what it seems. That's the basis of fascism, the merger in state and corporate powers, is we're going to destroy nature and humanity and get paid for it, okay? Or we're going to like ban nature and get paid for it. There's multiple aspects of it. But this map is fascinating because they'll deny it. They'll say the chemtrails don't exist. But this GPS map just shows the plane never landing up until a certain point and just flying back and forth over one area. And then you go over to this city and the planes fly back and forth in the air, right? And they have this pattern they do like this. It's like almost like a slightly wavy pattern they do. And you got to wonder why they'd be flying over cities in a slightly wavy pattern like this, and seemingly then landing right back where they took off, because they're spraying everybody down like bugs, as we know. So it's not about fear porning and going, oh my God, they're spraying us down, stay in the house. Get your detoxes on. Get your detox on. Get your detox on. I could hire Missy Elliott. She's probably old now. She'll probably come on this broadcast for maybe a grand or two. She's probably desperate. Instead of get your freak on, I could tell her, get your detox on. She can leverage that with me. So yeah, it's like reminder, detox your body. They're finding parasites and heavy metals and all types of shit in this spray, non-spray. My buddy, who has people down in Mexico, says they're now saying the chemtrails come out red down there. And I said, yeah, well, they probably are really full on with it down there. Not only do they have like heavy metals and parasites, they probably got baby blood and all types of shit in there. Who knows what they're into, I mean, we got the videos of some of these folks who work with United States corporation lobbyists, and they just laugh and giggle about cutting up babies and taking the organs out for profit. Got dozens of those hidden camera videos, as if they're hiding, as if they're embarrassed, as if they're shy about it, right? They're doing all this shit out in the public. So again, show them the bottomless pit, remind them we have wings. We are eternal truth, pure consciousness and awareness, the closest thing to God, if not God itself on the highest level. On the lowest level, incarnated as an individual or individuated aspect of that. Okay, so because we're connected to that, and we'll go back to that, this place is an in-between experience and choice. And as hard as it is for folks to get their logical, rational mind to accept it, somewhere in the heart we realize we, even as individuals connected to the spirit, are more powerful than this dynamic, right? So we not only have created it, we can stop it immediately and change it. And I believe that that's already underway. I wouldn't be here talking the way that I am with any kind of audience if it wasn't an idea whose time has come. So now we got to put the action steps in. We got to literally convince all of ourselves that we are powerful, we are valuable, we are inspirational and influential, and we're going to put a stop to this crap, or we're going to die trying, okay? Because either way, we're all up out of here, We all got to die at some point, sometime, and we don't get to choose those circumstances. What we do get to choose is what we do from now till then, and who and what we are, what we serve, what we stand for, right? And then that will dictate universally what we deserve, because the word deserve literally means of serve, of service. So depending on who and what we serve will dictate what we deserve here, and apparently what we receive. So you get to receive what you receive here, as some have said. I say you get to receive what you perceive. So if you think you're a lowly, pathetic, cowardly slave, or you feel that way and you don't want to live out of that into a new reality, then you're going to get the outcome of somebody who lives that way. If you live inspired, empowered, and co-creative and connected to God, you are going to be more empowered, and you are going to be more co-creative and get results here. Okay. And then they're going to stomp their feet and bang the table and say, why are you free? See, that's how it goes. So yes, as we move forward, for the troll slaves who think that they're like picking at me and insulting me, I know they love me. Really? And I know their picking and prodding is really just to inspire and motivate me to do what the fuck I say I'm going to do. So I appreciate you for that. Keep doing what you do, and I'm going to do what I need to do. So with that said, same deal. Nothing much has changed. Over the next month or two, I presume that we're going to have land. We had some hiccups and issues, have to do the situation all over again. And then at that point, as I start to feel better, because I'm still in a lot of pain, that's not excuses and victiming, or if it is what it is. But in my spare time, more and more, I'm redirecting, because I was wasting considerable amount of my time with certain people, places, and things, and I've started to move away from that more and more. So I will orient myself towards solving the problems that need to be solved as I see it. That is my greatest opportunity in this life, to be successful, to have notoriety, whatever folks want to say the core of my beingness is. And they may have some truth to that, right? Paulie's online seeking validation. Well, part of a man's whole walk is seeking validation. He has to validate his understanding in something that can be referenced in the real world. If not, we wouldn't have a fucking light bulb or a computer or anything else that we're using right now. So seeking validation isn't necessarily a negative thing. And I would prefer to say seeking verification of a validation I've already made internally, externally, if that makes sense. So I implore all of you who come here, who see as I see, because you're I am that am, just like I am. If you can say I am, then that's you. That's me. You see what I see, you hear what I hear, you feel what I feel, and you know what our role here is, if anything, because our role here obviously is not to just do nothing and be destroyed by these pathetic cowards who twist and spin with words because they're so deathly afraid of the truth that they don't want us to discover, right? So if you see as I see and you hear as I hear and you feel as I feel, then it's your job as well to do the next right thing. Get on the horn and call up your representatives, quote unquote. You know I don't like that terminology. We're not here to be represented. Call up your fucking civil servants and all the rest of them and ask them, what are you spraying over my city? I'm watching the radar map online. Go look up the radar map, find out who's who, what's what, get the numbers of the planes and call them up. I don't care who you call. Call everybody and their brother. State Department, Secretary of State, Attorney General, on and on and on. I don't care. Get somebody on the phone who can answer to who and what these people are, what they're doing, and when they try to gaslight you, let them know. Give them notice. I'm going to give you like not even 21 days. It's just we're way down the line here. I'm going to give you like 21 fucking minutes to come up with an explanation for what this all is. And if I don't believe it as well, we're going to court, okay? Because the only thing after this, unfortunately, historically, is civil war. I don't want to be a part of any of that. And I'm not going to implore anybody to do violence or be a part of violence or even be a part of using force against these people doing violence. Because I don't believe it's an answer, okay? There's revolution, which means complete circle, and there's resolution, which means to resolve this. And the only way to resolve this is remind all these people who the fuck they're working for. And if not, you stop complying, you stop paying them, and you sue their bitch asses till they stop it. And there's nothing else in my mind that's going to change this. So, again, I need to get on that more and more, and I will. That is my intention. And other folks who have plenty of time, energy, attention on their hands, have nothing else to do, nowhere else to be, and would be bored by life if they didn't take on a challenge, get your ass in gear. Because there's going to come a point in time, I have a feeling, even those of us who don't live with regrets, we're going to wish we did a little bit more. Okay? And I would think that that time would already be here after what we just witnessed for the last 5 years and ongoing. When we go to the articles and we find out Donnie just met with Billy, everybody's favorite two daddies, it's beyond laughable. They're still sitting on slave book, making excuses for Big Don. Instead of just calling it out for what it obviously is, you're getting duped and hoaxed again, and you all love it. But I will say this. I've seen more and more people over the past, 4 or 5 years, pretty much. I've seen more and more people come out in the open. People you would have never maybe even thought would. Regular old middle class, middle American white people. And I'm saying that to sort of trigger a little bit, right? And be kind of funny. But yeah, more and more it's just becoming so obvious it can't be ignored. That's perfect. That means that we're at a perfect point in time. It's perfect in its imperfection. It's the best of time, worst of times. That means that we're part of a movement of awaken, aware, and then activate. Okay. And of course, we're seeing a little bit more evidence of that with the protests. You know how I feel about protests. It's glorified complaining, but better than nothing, I guess. Get out in public, air your grievance with your civil servants as well. Let them know that you're upset and that this needs to stop. And we know you're doing loss, injury, and harm. And if you're not going to do it, again, this is why we have this beautiful civilized system. Because about 5 to 10 to 50,000 of you, as I read the articles, are protesting about Philistine and all the rest of it. How about you just put in a 3 to 5 line claim in the local court, state court, federal court, citing who's who and what's what, who's complicit, and drag these fucking people through the mud, right? Make them have to answer to it. And it's not about purposely clogging up the system. It's about the squeaky wheel gets the oil. The more of us that bring claims forth, the more they got to address it, the more they got to write back home to their people and say, we have an abundance of claims that are pouring in. And don't kid yourself, it's already happening. More and more people. My algorithm is 2 things lately. Anti-Semitic. I don't know how it got this way either. I swear I have nothing to do with this. Anti-Semitic, according to their lingo, which there's 13 types of Semitic people. The Arabs are one of them. If you're anti-Semitic, it means you're against everybody in that area. And legal lawful, right? I've never seen so many videos this last couple weeks, if I'm doom scrolling, about the state of corporation, working with other corporations, doing fascism and tyranny, and how we need to stop complying. And this idea of legal and lawful, going to court and getting some kind of remedy, understanding the law and understanding that their legal process is fraud, okay, and not standing for it. So it's already happening. It's already underway, but that doesn't mean that you folks individually should stop or never start. It means now's the time to start more than ever. Because you got other people on your side. You got other people rocking the courts. You got other people getting results. You got other people inspiring you to realize you could get results and that they're not always just going to lock you up and throw away the key. Okay. Now, there may come a day where that becomes a reality for all of us. And I contend it's going to become a reality for all of us on some level if we don't use the system properly. If we don't bring claims to be recognized. If we don't change our status and standing on the record with these corporations and with our fellow man and woman. Okay, so this is a last-ditch effort where we are historically on the timeline to turn back the hands of time, to get man and woman recognized, and ultimately God and God-given rights recognized once again, and therefore property and pursuit of happiness. Because we know historically, once the idea of a human can't pursue happiness without being regulated and can't own property without paying tax on it to use it, and then the medical tyranny shows up, it's like Holocaust Central, okay? Especially when you're on bad financial times, and especially when my algorithm and everyone else is getting very anti-Semitic lately. Very anti-Semitic, okay? And we don't support that here. We love the state of Israel. We support the state of Israel. Why? Well, because if we don't, I think, how many states is it? I don't want to misspeak. 40 states have not supporting Israel codes that they want to call laws. Let's get to that first and foremost. I got a blast from the past too. Should we blast from the past first and then refocus? I guess I'm thinking out loud. Yeah, you know what? Let me hit this first since I segued without meaning to. It's already on my mind. Map shows states where boycotting Israel is illegal. Well, isn't that special? And I'm sure that that's for safety. I'm guessing. Most of these statutes, policies, and codes are really just there to keep us safer, is what I've learned. Amid ongoing pro-Palestinian protests at different college campuses in the U.S., a number of states have previously passed legislation essentially making it illegal to boycott Israel. Well, that sounds like land of the free, home of the brave to me. Anything wrong with that? In recent weeks, pro-Palestinian protests have broken out at colleges like Columbia University, Northwestern University, the University of Southern California, and George Washington University. At Columbia University, protesters set up Gaza Solidarity encampment, blah, 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 blah. I want the list of the states. I know why they're doing it, because those Palestinians are just so bad and evil and terroristic for allowing themselves to be bombed by, quote unquote, Hamas and ISIS. And some have said those are creations of U.S. corporation, but we won't get into it. They're now being bombed by Israel and other allies, you know. And I'm sure it's just because these brown people are always part of some axis of evil that I don't know about because I don't have access to the intelligence. Why? Because it's kept secret for national security. Duh. You stupid fucking sopsits think you're going to get the truth about what's going on with United States Corporation that you think is your country and your land? Absolutely not. You're on a need-to-know basis, and you slaves don't need to know. Okay, the states have passed legislation making it illegal for state agencies to work with companies that boycott Israel, including Texas, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Florida, Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arkansas, Minnesota, Nevada, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Kansas, North Carolina, Utah, Missouri, Idaho, West Virginia, Colorado, Mississippi, and New Hampshire. Okay. So, for example, Indiana, the state Senate passed legislation in 2016. This goes back a ways, kind of like Bibi calling for Iran to attack them any day for 33 years. 33 years, he was on the stump in front of the news, non-news, saying, we got to do something about these Arabs. They're going to bomb us any minute. Till eventually, after 33 years, they decided to just go ahead and bomb the damn Arabs. For safety, of course. So they passed legislation in 2016 calling for mandatory divestment by state agencies from any company involved in the promotion of activities to boycott, divest from, or sanction Israel, the Jewish virtual library state. So this is a big problem. If you don't see the big problem, you are part of the big problem. Okay. So now they've used the legal society and legal code and legalese, its own language, to create a framework structure of ruling over the people and telling them who and what they can't criticize. Okay? How could that ever be wrong or go wrong, right? Even though that's essentially exactly what living under a tyrannical dictatorship doing Holocaust would be doing and saying. Let's breeze on over. Move it on over. Israel's Knesset, okay? And this is very recent, by the way. Israel's Knesset has passed a law that imposes a 5-year prison sentence for denying the October 7th massacre. Isn't this what they all do? Didn't they do this during Slavid-19? Blocking my channel, shadow banning it with 23,000 subscribers, can't get over 10 live viewers, the original one, right? Striking it dozens of times a month. Because I was doing medical misinformation, because I dared to say maybe we shouldn't live under this tyranny and follow these rules while I was getting arrested for not complying, by the way, and getting dismissals. So you can't say now January 6th was a bullshit psyop. I didn't say that. Some have said that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you can't say it, right? So you can't say October 7th massacre, which is apparently some Israeli potential. Some have said psyop. I won't say that. That's conspiracy theory. Particularly if such statements are made to defend Hamas or express sympathy for the organization. Right. So very simple. They write up codes worldwide. They're doing it not only in the state of Israel, they're doing it here. And they're going to tell you, if you condemn Israel and you don't stand with them and you're critical, well, then you're with the terrorists. And then you are a terrorist. And then we're going to put you in jail for 5 to 7 years. Okay. This is literally where you get a choice, right? Everyone out there, I know you say, Paul, he's crazy. He's driving without license, registration, insurance, and plates. Although I've drastically reduced that ever since I had issues with my health. Yeah, Paul, he doesn't want to follow the statutes, policies, and codes when it comes to weed and guns and all the rest of it when he gets arrested. Yeah, because I know where it's going. It's going to this. And if you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it at some point. You're kidding yourself if you think you're not. You're kidding yourself if you're going to write me up to be the crazy Sid who's trying to get everybody hurt by not complying. Oh, you should have already been not compliant for the longest fucking time. Does it have to get to legislation like this for you to realize where we're at? So the minute they say, don't burn the American flag, it's not an American flag. It's the United States flag. United States is defined by U.S. code as a corporation. That's the moment you decide to burn a U.S. corporate flag. The moment they say, don't critique state of Israel or you're a terrorist too, and we're going to put you in a box, that's the moment you do it. Because they're basically giving you a choice. Do you want your rights and freedom, or do you want to comply and cooperate to go along, to get along for our benefits and privileges, which eventually turn into nothing but dictates and dysfunction, okay? You know, that line of benefits and privileges versus dictates and dysfunction and disempowerment. Very difficult for a lot of the slaves to recognize. We got some folks in the back. We got Michael Smith. Bring him in. I'll go honorable Judge Unsslavious. Hello to you. Are you there, Michael Smith?
Hello. Hello.
Greetings, Stephen. What can I do for you?
What's up, Meatball? How'd you recognize my voice?
I'll see you later, Stephen. Not interested in playing games with the usual suspects. Cage, what can I do for you, sir? Cage? Cage once, twice, 3 times a lady. I'll see you later, Cage. It's like
No, I'm here.
It's like a call goes out to these people. Like an energetic call goes out to these people. Can we get the clowns and the trolls and the detractors and the distractors in? It's about that time, right? Yeah. Because I was like on a roll for a second. I was in my momentum. You know, I was maybe covering something that matters for all of us. So we got to get the distractors and the trolls and the detractors and all the rest of the loser failures in here to just try to throw me off of my situation. Because I love them. I love them even though I don't like them or respect them, and they take advantage of that.
Really I'm here, Paul. My bad, my mic was muted. Can you hear me
What can
proper?
I do for you, Cage? Questions, comments, concerns? I'm on a roll here. I want to go to my stuff. I don't want to be interfered with. I like the vibe of when I'm in my flow and in my zone and doing my thing. I don't bother nobody anymore. I don't go nowhere. I don't bother nobody. So nobody should bother me, people? Right? I don't bother anybody. Where have you seen me go bothering anybody, imposing my will, trying to teach anybody or tell anybody?
My backstage thing I do.
I'm 4 days. I'm once every 4 days. I come on, I do my thing, and I leave the rest to everyone here. You do whatever you all want to do. I want little to nothing to do with it. Okay? I'm asking you nicely. I'm asking you and others nicely. It's not me yelling and screaming and cursing and acting tough on the internet like they say. I'm asking everyone nicely. I don't go anywhere and bother any of you. I don't cover you. I don't do broadcasts about you. I stick to the facts and the truth and the world stage, who and what I am and my experiences, and we move on with the rest of our day and our weeks and our months and our years.
So is that kind of Shakespearean, right? The whole world's a stage.
It's whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want it to be. All the world is a stage. I agree with that. That there's an otherworldly force or a set of forces here that essentially avatars humanity to do this or do that. And we think it's all our own individuated ideas and concepts and cleverness and reality. No, I think there's something. And again, the subconscious mind, if we study psychology or psychiatry or both, that's revealed to us that the subconscious controls the majority of our actions and we are not aware of it. That's why it's the subconscious.
It's called a daemon in computing, which has nothing to do with an interactive user, right? It's called a daemon, which has nothing to do with a demon. It's like simple computing. So you're saying that reality is set up for the interactive user in a way, or for the individual who's been programmed in order to experience it. Are we getting there? Where are we going?
Well, that might be a part of it. It's very difficult for me to concentrate and listen to you and what you're saying because you have this very monotone sort of way of speaking and you don't really enunciate.
I can talk like this and have enunciation. Should I talk like that?
One in the chat, if he didn't change at all how he's talking, and
maybe I could talk like that.
I have an extreme version of ADHD. This is what I'm saying.
Paul's retarded.
I've told these people, they just don't get it. I'm not playing the victim either, like someone in chat says. I'm a very disturbed, traumatized boy, as they like to say on here. Okay, I'll cop to it. Whatever you need me to cop to, because there may be some truth in that. You know, we all have an inner child. Mine was abused and neglected. It's never gotten over it. Okay, it just wants to do its broadcast. Just wants to do what it's passionate about, cares about, what loves and never leaves him. You know. My broadcast will never leave me. The core audience who's been here from the beginning, they won't leave me. I want to believe that. Not like everyone else in my life. They won't abuse me. Right? Cage, what are you saying? What were you saying? Oh, that's right. One in the chat, sorry, Cage, I'll bring you right back in a second. One in the chat, if you have extreme ADHD from whatever the fucking reason is, from slavery, from genocide, trauma with your mommy and daddy, whatever the case may be, right? We don't even have to get into that. We can, we don't have to. One in the chat, if you can't pay attention to Cage at all because he has a mumbly, mundane, voice and personality, and it's just like you just check the fuck out. You check out, and then you wish Elon Musk was here, because Elon Musk is like 5 to 10 steps up, and he's still autistic and boring and mundane and monotone. But he's miles ahead. I could probably summon the will to pay attention to him, because I go, this guy's like the personification of evil. He's pure Luciferian. He's got billions of dollars. He drinks 12 Diet Cokes a day. I'm somehow more interested and compelled to. Okay, the chat is flooded with ones right now. I'm gonna have to get Snafu in here, rent him as a part-time janitor to clean all that up. He just dumped ones all over my chat box. Huge one. Big, huge. This guy, Cage, he's not a nice guy. Not a good guy, not a nice guy. Nasty person. This Cage. Cage, your thoughts?
The cage is the stage of the cage, buddy. Come on now.
All right, listen. I love you. I care for you. We have some bond. I don't know how it happened. It's usually a trauma bond on here, but I really don't like you or respect you a lot of times when it comes to broadcasting.
Should I change the avatar? Let me change the avatar.
You probably should just not be here, right? It's better for all of us, you know? It's the same conversation I had to pretty much give Jennifer and other folks in my life, you know, my father. They go, well, you know, do this or that or this or that. And then the uncomfortable truth that we all don't want to accept is, even me, is you just probably shouldn't be here. It's probably not good for any of us, you know? I'm
Why
working
not,
through
man?
a lot.
You come into my private thing.
Well, that's the thing I see, and this is what everyone does, because I have some
What do you mean
heart
everybody
left.
does that?
Yeah, because I have some heart left that isn't completely numbed out or broken. I go, well, I want to love these people and care for them, and I'm somewhat interested in what they're doing, and I like to show up and be a part of it for a bit, and then I go off back to my own area. And then they mistake that for me, like wanting people around all the time and in my face and telling me what I should do and be or not do and be, or just even just feeling something in my presence interferes with me, my life, and my process. I am a tortured artist, non-artist, because I can't paint. If I was to paint you, it would just be like, I'd sit there for 20 minutes, and when I turn it around, it's a stick figure there, right? In my mind, I'm an artist. This is my canvas here, right? I'm an oral artist. Don't go there. I'm an oral artist, Cage. Okay? And this is my life's work, and this is what I'm passionate about, what I love to do and be a part of. And any person, places, or things that interfere with that, even without knowing they're doing it, it grates on me. I don't like it. I don't want it. I prefer the alternative, that I be alone most of my life, that most people not like me, that I get to feel free and authentic and genuine, or just comical, right? And absurdist. I don't have to deal with the judgments and the feelings and the projections and all the rest of it that comes with dealing with most community and society. There are very few people, I get it. There are very few people who can love me and deal with who and what I am and how I live. I am not like most. And I'm just being candid about that and honest, to a negative fault, right? I'm not saying God of all media here and doing the bit non-bit. I'm saying to a negative fault with the darkness in me that I allow to be radiant at times, as the Tao illuminates. The Tao is deep and dark, but also radiant. Why? Because it lets it be. That's me on some level. And most people are not going to be able to deal with that, because I'm not going to want to deal with most people. That's clear by this broadcast. I'm very self-aware. That's what confuses doctors. And my principal once said, Paul, I thought you were going to come in here and lie about all this or deny it or whatever else, like everyone else does. You came in and told me about you and what we know, and then described why it's happening, and then took ownership and position over it. Right? Yeah. It's got to be that way. You know, we're going to get out of this life what we need out of this life. I'm done with what everybody wants, including me. I'm literally now Travis Bickle, except slightly overweight. Like, I woke up the other day, I started doing sit-ups. It's been 2 weeks straight, just sit-ups. It's been 3 months now after a 32-day fast. Nothing but the same meal every day. No more destroyers in my body. It's time. 100 sit-ups in the morning. Really, it was like 12. So I'm far from Travis Bickle. Way more disciplined and motivated, ambitious, this guy. Okay. But yeah, it's like, no more destroyers in my broadcast. No more Cage. I take the woman out to a movie. I take her to an adult pornographic movie. She runs out screaming. I don't know what happened. See? This is my life. This is my world. We're getting a peek into it here today. And we weren't even going to do this. This is all extra content that you weren't supposed to get. You could thank Cage for that. Snafu Snaps.
Well, hello, Mr. Daddy. So,
notice
are
how
you
I
doing?
greet Snafu Snaps, who at one point was my warthog creature, troll beast, arch nemesis, and all the rest of it, because he's taken a hint. He's changed his perspective. He's growing and learning. He's starting to get in where he fits in. He's being an asset at times. And when I decide that I'm done, he says, okay, Mr. Dada, and goes off with the rest of his life.
That's in the wind.
And didn't I don't want to, you know what, I'm not even going to bring up what I did
You know
for
what?
you or with you recently,
Dada,
but
you're
that's a
such a humble
testament.
guy.
It's just not about that. The point is whether I'm selfish and greedy or whatever else, I have my faults. I ask a few things from folks. If they want my respect and want to co-create with me, then they'll get that all day, every day. If they can't hit that, then I just rather them go that way, right? It's not personal.
I got two questions for you today.
Go ahead.
The first one is, are you doing cameos for sit-ups? And how much are they? Like, how much would it cost me to get a cameo from Paul and Slave doing a sit-up?
I don't think that I'm into doing all that. I don't really want to be whoring myself out. We're 5 years into this, and I didn't take those offers when I was really hot in the beginning. If I take it now, it's like I'm kind of desperate. And if I need cash that much and I'm that desperate to whore myself out, I could just go work again. I put an application in at Safeway. You know why? Because I got sucked into these panels. I started spending hours a day on panels. Nothing's getting done. It's a waste of everybody's time. And it's a bunch of slaves around me. So I said, you know what? I could just go back to working 4 to 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, you know, put a few extra bucks away, cover my necessities, not eat into my savings, right? And be productive. Get my body moving, my lymph system, they tell me. There's lymph pumps all through my whale-like body, and I have to keep them moving and pressing and flowing, right? And the only way to do that is picking things up, putting things down, and moving. So
now the second question is more of a serious question, and I really do want to hear your thoughts on this. So I put a clip in the back, and this is in Dearborn, Michigan, where Tarek's from. But I wanted to ask you the cultural optics of what we're witnessing here in the Western states or Western countries. And then like some of the stuff that you talk about, right, freedom, principles, which can be ingrained in other cultures, but because of the diversity and how different it is, and then what we're witnessing here in the United States taking place, because the footage that is in your backstage, this is where Tarek lives, Dearborn, Michigan. And we're witnessing a cultural, I don't know if you want to say infiltration. And I'm just curious, how do you think what you teach or what you talk about is going to be affected with a lot of the cultural integration with it? Because again, you say it's everyone, so it doesn't matter if it's Muslim or American.
This is spiritual, man. They already did this over and over again. This place
and
that
so
we're
I wanted
on,
to get your thought on it, because we're witnessing the huge cultural infiltration within these borders, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's purposeful on a spiritual level. This thing we know works hundreds, thousands of years, lifetimes to try to move people, places, and things into positions to play off each other. So obviously the shaitan, the spirit behind all this, wants civil war, wants revolutionary war, wants world war, right? Because that's how it depletes the resources, kills off all the strong males, and then allows a bunch of weak motherfuckers who are left over to get loans and go back into debt with the centralized banks and start the feudal system all over again, right? So that's why we got to be very careful about being sucked into the optics, because they want Paulie Boy and a whole bunch of other sovereign citizens who may have some heart and some balls, who really can't stand to see this evil continue and this slavery to be ubiquitous, get sucked into this idea that we're going to kill other people and fight wars and somehow stop it. No, the meek shall inherit the earth. You better go to the fucking forest and the mountains. You better get with your community. You better start growing your food because they're poisoning the food. You better get some water from 400 feet down in the ground because they're poisoning the fucking water. And you better start getting back to basics and living super naturally. So if we live super naturally, as close to nature as we can get, the way God intended us to live, not in these physical cancers on the world, which we call cities, okay? when we start to live like that, just as the Amish, who are supposedly under God and have kept the faith, they've never moved from their position for a reason, because they're guided by that Holy Spirit on some level. I'm not saying everything they do is they're pure descendants, from
you're
heaven.
still saying, so I get, okay, so like, I don't know if you're gonna, the footage that I showed shows the huge cultural deployment, and what I'm questioning is, okay,
it's on purpose so that it creates secession and civil war, right? People are going to start wanting to secede. The talks are already all around the nation for secession. We know what times we're in.
But I guess what I'm saying is, even if you're talking, but your message doesn't just receive to one culture, right? Because you're speaking to everyone as a human, as a being. And see, we're witnessing the cultural, dare I say, Sharia law, or many things being put in play. And that's when I see footage like this in Michigan and other places, and I think of people like you putting your message out, I start thinking, what do these other cultures think about Paul's message as well as ours? I
don't give a fuck. I don't care. This is going to be very simple, man. We need to get together. I told folks to email me. A couple folks have. I get that a lot of folks don't have any sort of physical value to put into this. That's part of what I'm asking for. Is I kind of am looking for people who have saved and reinvested and are responsible and accountable with their assets and have something to show for the work they put in, so they can invest with me and others to get more and better opportunities. That's just the way the world works. Now, in between doing that, I'm also going to look into adverse repossession, legally and lawfully obtaining properties that have been abandoned. There's no title to them. Nobody's occupied them for decades. And then creating quiet title legally.
I heard it could be done. I've seen it done, actually.
Done all the time, man. What do you think Mitt Romney and the rest of these slaves essentially do? They take over other people's houses and corporations, and they call it, I forget what they call it, but they have another name
like an
for
abandoned vehicle repossession, right? Like because I knew a guy that scrapped metal, and I used to do it too, and we would go find abandoned trailers or abandoned vehicles or horse trailers out in the country lands, trailer that's been sitting there for like years and years and decades. And the weight alone in metal, just junking that shit, $300, $400, $500, but it's been, and you just go get a.
That's when the slaves like calling me a squatter, right? But most people on here don't have more than $150,000 liquid.
Yeah, but it's different if you're actually doing process to obtain, for
right, it's different when I have everything that I need to get certain amounts of what I want, but I'm choosing to want bigger and better, and maybe that's my mistake because I already can get something, and then I'll just have to work it. Right? I prefer to have more than 3 to 5 acres. Right? 3 to 5 acres, about 30 to 40K. Where I'm at, even with a well. So it's still a damn good price in reference to a lot of other places, but I prefer to have 20, 30 acres with a couple wells, right? That's just, and maybe again,
you've been doing well
such
research?
is life, you work toward it. You start with the basics, you do what you can, and then you work toward it long term. So what we're planning on doing at this point is grabbing some land for 30, 40K with a well on it, putting a tiny house on it, digging the septic, and then flipping it, and wash, rinse, repeat, right? That keeps us all busy. That keeps us learning skills in a craft. Jesus was a carpenter. It all fits, right?
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, so are you're not big on okay, I've heard you talk about farming, animal, stuff like that. You're not big on that, but have you changed your thoughts on that?
He does that. He's doing that. I don't agree with him on that, but I'm not going to fight him on it. That's his choice of how to live. He's got goats over there, pigs over there, chickens over there. They're all right here. Yeah, bro. I told you.
Do you agree with that? Do you think that's essential?
No, I don't agree with that.
Whether you agree with it or not,
no,
do you think it's essential for a community?
No, I don't agree with that. Because I see the look in those animals' eyes, and I know they don't want to be encaged, and I know that the same energy that is putting those animals in cages is putting us in cages, and it literally has the same excuses. And I
you're not vegetarian,
are you? Let me finish what I'm saying, and I'm not demonizing him. I love the people who I'm with and work with. I can honestly say that. And everyone's on their own journey, and I don't judge anybody, because there's always something we could look to somebody and say, I don't do life that way, and I don't respect you for that. Right? I guarantee if you look into my life, you'll have that idea for me. So I'd be hypocritical to say that I am not what I'm critiquing. Again, I'm not critiquing him. I'm pointing out a dynamic of a spiritual revelation that I came to when I looked at these animals and realized the same eyes, the same consciousness that's looking out my eyes, whether it's the same brain function or not, or body function, it's the same consciousness looking out those eyes. It's an indwelling test. God is giving all of us an indwelling test on many levels, I believe. Now, I could just be crazy for this and many other
in your
things.
community, if like as far as food, like just a question to you, how would you handle food rations or in a community without the farming and processing of animals?
I'm explaining it. So ultimately, I'll even meet you halfway or the middle ground like most things. You want to keep enclosures for the animals to quote unquote keep them safe, just like they say when they lock me and others up. We got to lock everyone up to keep everyone safe. There's bad people out here and in here and everywhere else. Okay. But that has nothing to do with them living free lives day to day. So you let the animals out. I'll meet you in the middle. First of all, I don't believe in keeping them penned up to kill them either. So I don't agree with this logic because they do the same thing to their children. They keep their children under the house. They order them. They beat on them. They drug them to keep them safe, keep them in line. And then at some point, they turn them over to the slaughterhouse that is the culture and the society to be sucked dry and bled dry, whether it's financially, spiritually, and all the rest of it. I don't see any difference between how we treat the animals and how people treat their own people. It's literally one and the same. And I believe that's why the insurance company and other companies call themselves things like State Farm Insurance. Because the shaitan as an energy that manifests as corporations uses its symbology over and over again in the words and the terms to reveal to you who and what it is. It mocks you right in your face. Okay?
Well,
so again, this is the idea of Saturn. Saturn is the idea of Shaitan or Satan. And Saturn, Shaitan, Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy through deception and voluntarism. And it is the god, Saturn, if you look into mythology, the god that eats its own children or progeny. So when you take an animal, which is essentially, when you take an animal, which has been studied and is essentially a 6-year-old in consciousness in a different bodily form, you can tell a lot about a society by how they treat their most weakest and defenseless animals. And those animals look to you just like your children do, to care for them, to nurture them. They want you to pet them, love them, take care of them, protect them. And what do? You take care of them and protect them, knowing in the back of your mind one day you're going to sell everyone down the river. I don't fucking respect that. I don't appreciate that. And you know what? I wouldn't mind it so much if you accepted the reality that your politicians are taking your children to a box as well to keep everyone safe. And many times in those boxes, they get fucked and they get their throat slit and all the rest of it. Oh, well, we can't talk about that. We can't. Sorry, I forgot where I was. We can't be real with ourselves and each other. That literally the human farming that's going on this planet is identical, even down to the excuses people make with the animals. And it's no coincidence to me. A race that will take a whole bunch of animals that look them in the eye and expect love and care and protection and fucking neglect them and abuse them and slit their throat so they can exist off of them is the same behavior my father did to me on this broadcast in front of everybody. We can go back to that. It's the same type of Saturn alien behavior over and over again. We don't want a better life for those under us. We want to keep those under us right where they're at till it comes time to use them. And it's sick and it's pathetic and it's an example of how spiritually dead, dishonorable, and bad faith we become. This isn't about the meat for me. This is about as within, so without, as above, so below. This universe is holographic, so you can't study a dynamic over here that doesn't translate over here. And I see the way the people who hunt animals and butcher them and kill them treat their fucking children like a commodity. Okay?
Huh. No,
so I believe it's all one
I'm
and the
glad
same.
we're talking about this. So what would your, like, for a community, if you were running it and say you didn't have that guy, now I get you'll have to work with people that do farm animals or do, whether you agree or not. How would you do the protein issue or the nutrient issue for the land, the people?
Eggs, I didn't tell anybody that I think it's wrong to have these chickens, free ranging, walking around. You want to coop for them at nighttime because if not, they'll get decimated. I know I've taken care of them. They're hard to keep around with predators and everything else. I'll meet you halfway, man. Let the animals roam free like you want to roam free, and let them come in the house at night to be protected. You know,
Okay.
and if you want to take milk from them naturally without causing loss, injury, and harm and taking a life that's not yours, you want to take the eggs from them, whatever the fuck, just like a plant, the fruit that these animals produce without tearing its root out, you can have all that all day, every day. It's in abundance. But again, I'm not going to, at this time, especially where we are in history, spiritually, energetically, and what I'm seeing, I will not be a part of a cycle of taking life that is not belonging to me, right? I could argue I don't even have a right to take my own life. Like, technically, legally, you got a right to commit suicide. I wouldn't put you in jail for it if you did it and tried to, if you tried to do it and failed, right? Well, you know, but ultimately, spiritually, whether it's legal or not, and technically your choice or not, you know, it's rightfully your choice. I don't believe it's my life to take because I didn't create it and I didn't give it to me. So I don't have a right to extinguish it within this vessel. I die when the appointed time comes. And it's not the appointed time if somebody's interfering with that. No, I've not always been that way. At one point, I was an abuser of animals. My father's he's delusional, so I hope he's not listening and he won't come up here because he has no balls. But he's delusional, won't cop to it. But I come from a family of very abusive men, if you can't tell by my countenance, how I come off at times. So these men regularly hit animals, put shock collars on them to try to alter their behavior, all this stuff. And so when you grow up around that, you just presume it's normal. Then at a certain point, you realize, no, every time I'm doing this, these animals are showing pain. They're showing that they don't like what's being done to them. It's being done to them because we're trying to control an animal that's not meant to be controlled. Okay? This idea that we're supposed to control and train the beings who we care for or steward is part of our problem. There's a fine line there between discipline and co-creating order versus constant domination, control, abuse, and neglect, because you just want to be in control, right? And you have a fear of things not being the way you want them to be, right? Or you just have a hectic inner space. So everything that's not the norm and what you want becomes a symbol of annoyance or fear or disempowerment, right? So that's where you get to. You're in an apartment, you got a dog. Now, number one, you never should have a fucking dog in the apartment. I don't care if you got to open the door, let it go, wherever it goes, it goes. Let it revert back to its wolf-like instincts. You got no business keeping these animals like property. They should be running free out in the open as much as possible. You keep them in an apartment, expect them not to run circles around the place when they're a certain breed, especially, and bark. Okay? So we're the problem, once again, because we're not using common fucking sense. And we're not allowing life to be life on life's terms. We want life to live on our terms. Okay? So it all starts with our lack of common sense and God's will that will be done. It's our will that's going to be done. And that's always the road that's paved to hell and hellish conditions and abuse and neglect. So I remember being there at an early age and having the dog just keep barking and barking and barking. Labrador Retriever, right? Chocolate Labrador Retriever. At least part of its genetics. Barking, 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 scratching at the door, running in circles. You wanted to stop it instead of allowing it to just express its nature and be what it's meant to be. So, you know, they teach you to hit the dog or to try to chain it up or to try to use a shock collar and shock it. And the dog yelps. See?
Yeah, I know about shock collars.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, that's a bit of a different idea. It's that was consensual, right? You agreed to put the shock collar on and do the bit here.
I'm just saying I'm very well versed with shock collars.
For shocking entertainment purposes, right? But the dog doesn't get to tell you, hey, I don't like that, stop it. It doesn't get a choice. See? So.
Well, see, this is where I kind of feel weird about it because, you know, hunting and skinning and processing meat is an art. And I noticed, like, you do got the animal lovers. I love animals. Don't get me, I'm an animal advocate, but I also think that some of the tools, like, for instance, we talk about the land, you talked about the water and the land and growing. I tell people all the time, you guys should start looking into communications like ham radio and other ways of communication. You should start, like, getting the service roads, because some of these service roads go county to county, if not state to state. Yes, you need most likely 4-wheel drive or horses, But like to prepare and to be individualized, as you say, the man of the land or yourself, I think some of these things are important, including processing meat.
See, this
And
is
I
what
think
I
it's an
like,
art.
right? All these farmer guys who, when you meet them, you can tell that they're extremely like abused and been neglected, and they don't really know what love and care is. And they're really not truthful beings either. They're not honorable. They're not faithful. They're not even courageous, right? So they got all this stoic manliness, but they never use it for anything. They're the biggest bitches ever. Pardon my French. Garland Farms is a perfect example of that. Code policy following, statute following, slave, tax paying, beast system, matrix voting slave. And he's going to come here and act like I'm lesser of a man for saying I got a heart that has care and love, especially for innocent animals who don't do any wrong. I'm not a man because I want to pet the animals because they enjoy being petted. They come over to
Do
be
you think
petted
animals were
and
given to man? Like, do you think certain
no,
things
I
were
think
given
that's
to
all
us, like
sickness. I
fruits
think
on the
that
trees?
I think the original Bible. I think the original Bible was written by or for what is the God of this world that was masquerading as the God of creation, and that's why there's an Old Testament and a New Testament, because there have been multiple gods here, and it seems if there's many of them, they tend to deceive humanity to make them think they're the creator God, and they make a whole bunch of claims that, when examined, don't really make much sense. Now,
You
when you
don't think like the fruits or the nuts or the wheat or
I
the
didn't
barley
say
or the
that. I
things
didn't
that
say
we
that.
man have made for resources for living off the land, like those, including animals like deer, venison.
What
Like
does what does a plant that literally produces a thing that it's going to drop?
marijuana?
What does a plant that produces a thing it's going to drop into your hand have to do with you taking life that doesn't belong to you? It couldn't be more clear. Every single one of these nuts and fruits and berries and everything else is a handheld, delectable treat, whether you like them or not. They're full of sugars and all the necessities, right? Our teeth points to the idea that we're like frugivores, to some extent. We don't have the makeup to be carnivores. If we are, like they say, 98% chimpanzee, chimpanzees don't typically hunt meat.
Well, we can't eat insects. We can't process chillin or whatever it's called.
Again, this is what everybody keeps saying, because there's a thing here that they'll admit certain times and deny other times called evolution and adaptation. So if you do the same thing over and over again for hundreds of years, your body starts to fucking adapt and strengthen one area and lose something else. So the presumption is that if we don't, which I don't accept, but if we don't have the ability to process, that we never could get that if we didn't go back to what we were always meant to be. And I don't believe that.
So
I don't have to believe that, because nobody can prove anything here, and nobody knows completely the whole story and how this all works. It's all presumption and assumption.
So this is where my confusion from what you're saying, and that's why I'm asking you, and I love this conversation, is then what was given to us to sustain life, to survive, like we as humans versus the other entities or beings on this planet. And I would say, biblically, we are special. We were made in the image of God. But even if you're not religious, you can say a human is different from a chimp. A human is different from a mammal or an insect. And I do feel nature was giving to the higher, I guess.
What don't you get about what you're saying? What you're saying is Talmudic law that the Jews and others are not Jews, they're Zionists. The Jews don't agree with them, quite frankly. What you are saying is you're stopping at the point of the animals. The chosen people view all animals and humans as goyim, essentially, lower than them, here to be ruled over. Why are you stopping at the animals? Include the whole story about where this all comes from originally. So the same way they all get together in court, put on their uniforms in the synagogue of Shaitan, and have you all locked in cages and live off of you, is the same thing you're doing to the animals. Jesus didn't go walk around. Your society is founded off of Jesus. I remember all the paintings of Jesus, whether he was white with blue eyes or not, which is another ridiculous thing. I remember him holding the lamb and petting the animals and bring the Prince of Peace while also having a sword from his tongue, as it was described. He had love and care for the children and women and the animals,
And he had a stern word for all these fucking pathetic, cowardly males in this realm who are not living how they know they're supposed to be living. Okay? So, again, I'm not going to have the likes of Garland Farms and other males here who eat red meat but don't stand for a motherfucking thing when it comes to rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith. They're pure coward status. Right? And they're going to tell me all about I'm not man enough because I have love and care for some aspect of love and care for women, children, and animals when they're innocent. And I don't have any respect or sympathy for these males who don't stand for nothing and have given away their women and children and their whole land and God to these Satanists. Okay? So you want to quote some fucking twisted scripture from an Old Testament or from a God masquerading as the God of creation because it's there to deceive all of mankind constantly and tell me all about how, all the living creatures were given to man to be ruled over and destroyed and sucked up and used for whatever they want, for bizarre experiments. See, this open door for you guys is what led to Fauci taking the dogs, cutting their heads off and torturing them. Go watch the videos of the animals when they cut the heads off, sit there and go like this. Yeah. And they get shocked. And then the animal cries because it recognizes, oh my God, the creature here, I'm man's best friend. Notice, by the way, dog is man's best friend and not woman. We can get into that. But
okay, well, let's be devil's advocate here for a minute. For instance,
why?
What about well, because we're talking about human survival, living off the land.
Why should I be devil's advocate when I understand the purpose of the devil? To teach and test people who and what they are and what they serve, and it's clear.
What about like the hides or the fat?
All those that hate me love death. All those that hate me love death.
Oils to burn the lamps, like in Alaskan, like you know, they use the oils that for decades to burn the lamps, the food processing foods, you know, hides and clothing. Now I get we could all go, oh, let's use hemp. You know, hemp could be made in plastic, everything. But like I'm just saying, you don't think that these animals that have provided mankind to clothe themselves, to feed themselves, to make accessories, medicines, good for us. Like you don't think
all the children that they just ground up to put in your McDonald's hamburger or make skin cream because anti-aging and all the rest of it. You don't think that all the nanotech that they're now showing the machines inside of everyone's bloodstream, you don't think that that's giving way to helping humanity? All the experimentations and the killing and the grinding up.
But how can you compare mankind using nature?
How can I not?
To survive, to
life is life. Life is life. Nature. Life is life. How can I not? What's the difference? You all have the same reasoning to do it. You all do it the same way. They hang people up in certain areas of the world by their feet and drain their blood out.
Yes, they do.
Use their organs, sell the organs, consume them.
Baby harvesting, organ harvesting is the number one thing right now.
What's the difference?
But there's a huge difference because, okay, we're talking about...
Because you're a human and you have no empathy for the animal, because if you were the animal, you'd see it a completely different way, but you're not that, so who gives a fuck, right?
Okay, shout out to Ross.
Just like when a man beats on a woman or a child, well, I ain't them, so I ain't got to worry about it till they go to jail and someone beats on them and mounts them. Then their worldview changes, right? Isn't that what goes on in a lot of prisons? A lot of people go to jail for beating on their women and children because they're in charge. They're in control.
You're equating, man.
Then they get to jail and someone just like them who's bigger and stronger says, I don't like the fact that you were beating on women and children to create order. You're my bitch now, and I'm going to beat on you. Every day I wake up, I'm going to beat on you, and you're going to lay in the corner and go, just like the women and children do. And your worldview is going to change on who and what you are, what you've been doing, and what you should have been doing. That's life. Should we go into a That's Life solo?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Okay, this is where I think you're fucking up. This is where I think you're doing a Jack Cop.
Go ahead.
You're in your delusions and your imaginations. How can you compare mankind using, whether we call it killing or slaughtering or what? Okay, mankind using nature. I mean, even like the earliest depictions of Jesus and God, we're around mushrooms. People were like, oh, were the Christians just a big mushroom eating cult? You know, I mean, there's so much unexplained hidden history and optics. But what I do know is nature, what mankind has profited, I guess you could say, in the betterment, whether it's medicines, clothing, food, survival. But see, you're equating the chemtrail or other stuff to mankind playing with mankind.
What gaineth a man if he profit the world and lose his soul?
So you're saying none of this stuff was given?
Hey, this isn't that difficult. I'm saying part of your soul is empathy and recognizing the unity in life and conscious and awareness. There's one life, there's one love, as the Rastafari say. If you can't achieve that state of consciousness and understand that, you won't have any empathy for anything that doesn't look like you. You'll demonize what looks like you and kill that too. That's why war goes on all day, every day across this fucking world. Because a bunch of you meat-eating, wife and child beating and abusing males don't want to cultivate empathy so we can connect to a higher order of life, one truth, one life, one way, the Christed Holy Spirit, and co-create a heaven on earth instead of reigning in hell. Okay? That's the reality of what we're talking about here. I don't know why this is so difficult.
So certain tribes, certain villages, certain towns would never the living off land, right? Whether you agree with how they do it or not, but they do it. They would not be able to survive without some of these things going on, such as the fishing industry, the whaling industry.
Can we practice harm reduction at least? Will you meet me in the middle?
Yeah,
Is there
of
any
course.
room to move on this?
No, of course.
Can we just scavenge? Can we try to scavenge like Lou Bastogne does? He goes along the road, he finds some animals who've been hit, you know, or like the Maasai tribe, I believe it is, used to do in Africa. They'd find a lion that just killed a gazelle, and they walk up to the lion, have some balls, walk up to the lion and take the kill.
I'm trying to think,
Scavenge.
if nothing was given
We
to
just
us,
practice harm reduction. I'm asking.
I'm trying to grasp what you said here, because you basically said the fruits, the berries, the nuts weren't given for us to eat or use, right? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong with that assessment of what you're? Because
Again,
you're basically,
this is not an assessment. I'm telling you the law of this creation. What you put out is what you get back. I don't give a fuck what you all continue to do. I'm telling you what I do and what I don't do. Everything else is your judgment with God. Feel free. Do whatever the fuck you want. I can't change it, and I wouldn't if I could. That's your path, free choice, your will, God's will, your journey. I may be wrong at some point. Stranger things have happened, and I may need to eat meat because of the pains I developed and the issues they all tell me is because I'm not on carnivore diet.
well, no, you know, I
Maybe
saw a comment in your chat. Someone said,
and this is a perfect. I guarantee if I had to bet, some baby booming scum who submitted to the state, who abuses their wife and child, who comes here to make fun of me and says things like bye instead of just leaving. The loser failure needs attention, right? See, at the core of it, he needs the love and attention, but he's too man enough to ask for it or to recognize
they can't handle the conversation. They're too
can't
triggered
handle
about
love and
talking.
care. They can't handle truth. There's a lot of things these boomer males can't handle, and that's why they wind up alone. And if they have some money, their children resent them and who they've been and what they've done, because they've elevated certain physicalities of the world above what's true and what's right, because they're satanic and materialistic. So buy and talk to your family, get that brat and ass kicking, right? See?
Yeah,
this is one of the tards who can't recognize a whole generation of brats who got their ass kicked, growed up to be unaccountable, irresponsible, delusional, in denial baby boomers who can't care for themselves, their women, their children, and can't figure out what planet they're on when it comes to religion and politics and statism and vaxes and all the rest of it. Get the fuck out of my face, you loser failure as a human being. You wouldn't know what true intelligence is if it was in your fucking face with a black t-shirt on, talking common sense and eternal truth. Didn't need you here, don't need you now, and I definitely don't need your parting goodbyes other than to do content out of it to prove a point about who and what you all are. And will remain to be, because you think you know it all. But when I tell you to come up or call in or click the link, you won't be able to make sense or put two words together in a sentence worth a damn. Then you'll turn around and tell me how you got a degree and work at some shitty corporation somewhere and make way more money than you're worth. So you think you got it all covered, right? We know the story by now.
Oh, yo, Dada.
You know who and what you are and how you live.
Okay.
Yo, yeah, Dada.
Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna tell you just a marketing idea. Just I know because I've been in this game too.
And then I got to stop you for a second. He's doing what all the boomers do. The same thing my father did to me, gaslit me, abused me, neglected me, tried to get me to deny my reality because he was a pathetic, cowardly slave and still is to this day. The only thing that's changed is he's realized I've been right because I got the damn experience and a whole fucking community who have the experience with an understanding that has always been and will always be. See, this guy's a schizo, right? Yeah, I guarantee you got a woman and a child out there somewhere who does not like you, cannot love you, doesn't respect you, because you'll pull the same shit with them when they bring a truth to your cowardly ass that you can't handle and won't even look at. That's the majority, you baby booming males. You'll go to war across the world to kill, steal, and destroy, but you won't even be honest in your own damn home with yourself or anybody else you say you love. Pathetic. Embarrassment. Clown. That's why I'm your daddy online, and I could be half your fucking age, and nothing would change it. Okay, go ahead.
So what I was gonna tell you, just a little. You know how these slaves hooked on phonics, they have to have their handheld in your StreamYard on your banner, where you have it going across. You should do one where it flashes the phone number, where you just click on it and it's not where it goes across.
Sir, we have that.
You should put the phone number.
Donald Trump ruined America. Call in if you disagree. As a matter of fact, let me go to the phone line. The phone hasn't been working lately. As far as the notifications, hasn't been giving me the notification.
Because even though I've had it, there's times I'm like, damn, I wish it was on the screen, and you don't have it up. So now you guys have it up there. Call in.
And it's pinned. It's also pinned, right? It's just that most of these people are dunces and they have no balls and they're never going to put up or shut up and go away. But we thank them. We love them. We thank them. We love these people. We thank you. You're filling places. There's an ask for every seat. We need the numbers to run up. So thank you. Thank you for being here. But fake news. Very nasty people, these people. A lot of them.
And then Cage is Spurgeon in your backstage, too.
Right. Too bad I'm not even looking. So whatever you're saying, I'm not going to read. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do in this life, okay? More importantly, I don't even want to do certain things, but I need to do it. I'm going to do what I need to do in this life for myself, for this audience, and everybody else as I perceive it. And as we go along, more and more God revealed to me where I could alter the program, it would seem. Okay. Went right to voicemail. This is what I mean. StreamYard's been giving me issues. YouTube pretty decent lately. Can't argue too much, at least the last couple days. But now my Google Voice phone can't receive calls no matter what I do and puts people straight to voicemail. So between to do a broadcast today, between StreamYard, Google, YouTube, and Google Voice, it's like, how many different ways can we try to fuck you? Is really all it comes down to, right? This is what I learned growing up on the East Coast. This is one thing that the males in my life taught me on some level, and I found it's true, is you got to figure out in life how everybody's going to try to fuck you, because everybody's got an agenda, you know? And there's some truth to that, and then also that creates some avoidance and distancing and potentially lack of intimacy. So you got to watch for that as well and kind of make something of that. I'm learning that too. So how many different ways can Google, YouTube, StreamYard, and Google Voice just completely fuck me? Is the question. And we're going to find out here on this broadcast. Okay.
That's crazy. People are calling you and it's not going through right now.
Well, just like the other day. And again, I don't like when you guys do this. I guess I don't have to like it because the truth is the truth. Presuming you're being truthful, please don't message me and say, because it's disappointing. It's disheartening, right? And then it takes me out of my vibe. I'd almost rather not know. And you just do something different to make it happen. These people come in and go, we love what you're doing. We tried to contribute the other day, but they won't take our contribution. They won't put it forth to you. And I go, I've seen them block shit at times and play those games, but it seems everyone else can. Just figure a way around it. There's 5 links up there.
I was going to say
Take
there's
the
more than one way.
If you value me and what I do and care and whatever else, and just do it. Don't come to me to message me to tell me you were going to contribute something, but you can't and you're not gonna and all that. Okay, what do I do with that? You know, especially if you can't verify it, especially if 2 or 5 other people just contributed. Because now I go, are they blocking me, shadow banning me, or are you just bullshitting me? You know, we got a ring now. All of a sudden, Google Voice. 602. You there?
Hi. Please don't be mad.
Go ahead.
So, someone told me to call you. I accidentally hit a car in your driveway.
See you later. or we get that, right? That's allowed through.
Right.
The bots and the trolls and the detractors and distractors, right? You see how this realm works on. This is why a lot of folks think it's a hell realm, right? Because you're constantly potentially tested and challenged, and having to co-create through or around these what seem to be obstacles or impediments. They're just tests and challenges. They make us better if we let it be. They break us down or interfere with us if we let it be. It's a choice.
Refinement through fire.
Sure. Rocky, are you there? Ira says, what's this all about? Rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, psychology, sociology, a little bit of theology, I guess some might say. We're about everything and nothing here. It's the Alpha and Omega broadcasting. What can I do for you? Are you going to drive directly into that side of that Walmart? That'd be some content, huh? Right through into aisle 9. What can I do for you, Rocky? Questions, comments, concerns?
I was listening. I would say that the supper of the lamb, at the Last Supper, Jesus had lamb for supper. So, carnivore diet's not that bad. Food is provided. Animals are provided for.
So we
food.
know that. We know that. Because I'll accept that. Push back to what I said, because I made a claim in a way that we see Jesus depicted as somebody who was a lover of the animals and cared for them. And
you take care of, when you raise your animals, you do take care of them, but they are meant, you raise your animals with care and you take care of them. You don't misuse them.
He ate the fish.
Okay, I got to stop because I love this. JJ, if you have an intelligent idea and you're not a complete coward, please call in or click the link. If it's not clickable, type it in the address bar. I love when you inauthentic corporate beta males come here and say you've been listening for 30 minutes and all you're seeing is a guy with Dunning-Kruger effect, on and on and on and on. You're literally right out of a factory where they produce people like you. I guarantee if you come up here, you're going to look, sound, and act like every other creature who's just like you before you. And I'm totally open for it. My question is, why haven't you yet? If I'm Dunning-Kruger, I don't know what I'm talking about on any level. What I'm saying and doing doesn't make sense or have any value or worth. Why not get up here and expose the white gorilla and overtake me with the truth that you possess and give these people some real information and entertainment? It's easy to sit in a chat box and use. It's easy to sit in a chat box and use buzzword phrases like Dunning-Kruger. Do you even really know what that means? Do you know what the implication is? Do you realize that when it comes to Dunning-Kruger with certain things, I'm literally on the opposite side of the scale, and the majority of you are going to be on that other side, right? If we go to the Dunning-Kruger scale here. So you're probably a statist, fascist, collectivist, tax-paying, code-following, feudalistic slave. You probably got boosters and vaxes. You probably don't own land. You're probably not a self-starter. You probably couldn't run a lemonade stand if you had to. Okay? And you're going to come here and tell me, somebody who's a self-made, self-starter, co-creator, who's influenced hundreds and thousands that I've worked with to do and be and have better and get results in court and other places, that I'm Dunning-Kruger. I'm going to ask you to substantiate that. Because one, I like a good challenge. And two, I always love looking at you guys and hearing your voice and feeling your energy and realizing with the audience all at the same time who and what you are. It's entertaining.
Hey, Paul, I'm going to go in and I got to go in and to the store for a second.
Thank you, sir. I'll be here. Hang out or go in. I'll hang out and you come back. JJ, the chat actor, Brown's boy, finally putting his agent's skills to good work. JJ might be a bot, right? Most of these folks are bots. They don't have to be bots to be bots. It's the reality of it. It's what we call an NPC, non-player character. All the NPCs think the main characters or player characters in the game, not even main characters, but just characters you can select in the game to go on the missions to get results. The NPC beta male actors always love to project onto those who are actually on a walk and actually are part of a mission and a purpose and actually are completing that or getting results with that. That's what always entertains and fascinates me and a lot of people who come here, right? They love that level of inverse irony through projection. Without a right to garden law, it may be illegal to grow your own food. Blast from the past. The most delicious vegetables are the ones you grow yourself, as many have come to realize during the pandemic. But some cities and counties have restrictions that prevent people from gardening at home. It goes on to describe all these different codes and policies from about 4 years ago, where they started to, for some weird reason, in the middle of lockdowns and boosting everyone out for safety, decided to start making it illegal to grow your own food and collect rainwater. Okay, but we won't get into that because that's sovereign citizen conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, Rocky, I'm going to get to, unless you got something pressing, questions, comments, concerns, I'm going to hit some of these articles, and then I'm going to check out at some point. I'm not going to die. I'm just going to check out of here. So for all those who are hoping for that, at least not that I know of. Not
Yeah, I was
planning
just
on it.
coming up because, I live off grid. I produce my own power. I hunt for food and stuff like that. And then I got these fuckers calling me a retard, and they fucking live in an apartment, can't fucking wipe their own fucking ass without toilet paper,
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. That's that actual Dunning-Kruger projection. They all like to invert reality, right? You'll notice in this life, all the inauthentic corporate beta males and females love to invert reality, twist it and turn it to their liking in order to deny the true empowering, inspiring, core value aspects of this creation, right? Because they're not that and don't have that and don't live it, they have to twist it and make it what they want it to be, right? That is the deceiver. Just like when we go to court, you'll go to court and these prosecutors and these folks will laugh and giggle at court. And then when you get results, they look shocked. They can't believe that it turns out they were calling you Dunning-Kruger. They're the ones who don't know law, and they've been practicing it for 20 fucking years. Okay? This is the irony of the paradox when you incarnate in this realm of who's who and what's what they say versus what they do, who they pretend to be versus who they really are, right? I got to thank somebody here real quick.
I've been studying the law for let me see, 95, that's like 30 years I've been studying how they fuck with us with the law. And then I go up on these panels and they think they know everything. And they call me a fucking retarded because I put a fucking a fly gun, and they said, "Oh, that's against TOS. A fucking fly gun is against TOS. Give me a break, man. It's it's a fucking, it shoots flies. It's what a bunch of fucking retards." Anyway, thanks for having me up.
Thank you, Rocky. And be careful with that fly gun. You don't want to hurt yourself or somebody else. You'll shoot your eye out. Remember that one growing up? You grew up on the East Coast, you remember that one. All right. Alex Jones. Should we go to an Alex Jones blast from the past clip? No, let's continue. We did Israel's Neset imposes a 5-year prison sentence if you criticize Israel. That's a new thing now. But I'm Dunning-Krugered out. This is for rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, and safety, right? We may have to put you in jail criticizing Israel. Police arrest almost 900 at London protests support banned group Palestine Action. So 900 folks just got arrested recently because they didn't support the state of Israel and in fact supported the liberation of Palestine. Philistine, as many folks have said. Almost 1,600 people have now been detained, many for silently holding signs supporting the group. No more free speech, no more quote-unquote right to protest, no more criticizing or critiquing state of corporations that are helping your state of corporation take over the world, essentially, right? And subject it to a bunch of centralized authoritarian corporate structures like NIH, WHO, CDC, on and on and on. See? And I support, by the way, this idea of Donnie Trump turning back this name for Department of Defense, because they used to like to bullshit people about what it really was. I like my bullshit unadulterated, unfiltered, and like straightforward to where it knocks me over, right? It's almost not even bullshit anymore. Might even be close to truth. But I like the fact that Donnie says, we're going to call it the Department of War. Great. I say we change the name to the CDC for the central, what is it? The Center for Disease Creation, right? To go along with this. Department of War, Center for Disease Creation, the Drug Expansion Administration instead of Drug Enforcement Agency, because we know that they like to expand legal opioids and Xanax and all this other stuff. And we also know that, what was the movie again? American Gangster was a biographical tale movie about a tale of agents finding out that the DEA, the CIA, elements of the FBI, and the military-industrial complex were shipping in all the drugs. So it's not drug enforcement agency; it's drug expansion agency or administration, right? They're involved in administrating the expansion and the the dispensing of all these different types of drugs, and then they're going to criminalize it, using legalities, and then they're going to put you in their private prisons. So Department of Private Prisons as well should be part of the Drug Expansion Administration. What other agencies start? If you're in chat or you're watching the replay, please comment on a United States corporate subdivision entity and its 3-letter or 2-letter acronym, and then give me what it should stand for in this new reality we're all going into on the new timeline, like Department of War. What it really is. Center for Disease Creation with Fauci and the rest, some might say. What's the one? FEMA. That's actually pretty accurate. Federal Emergency Management Agency. These people are there to create emergencies and manage them, and then never let a crisis go to waste. Once they create the emergency and manage it, they bring in a solution that further expands their control grid system. Like the fires all over, the wildfires, and the 6G that pops up with the wires in the ground after the floods, because of the flood clouds. I know I'm Dunning-Krugered out. I made all this up. I'm conspiracy theorizing. Sorry. So yeah, I already covered 4 of them. I'm sure there's many more. IRS. What could be the IRS's acronym? The International Recovery Service. Or Internal Recovery Service, because United States Corporation has to get back all of its stuff that you folks have created, that it all owns, because it owns you and everything that extends off of you. So its whole service is trying to recover all the value that you folks try to create. And of course it's contractually, because you all comply and you don't understand the law, and you don't even look up what the definition of a withholding agent is. And you don't look up the definition of income, and you don't look up the definition of currency and cash and all the rest of it, right? Who cares? Who needs it? By the way, we got to go to the obligatory once per broadcast revelation here, because this is how we get the information out, by repetition. This is why my algorithm has been full of people now repeating this. I want to believe it's because I keep pushing it into the mainstream every day, and then somebody hears and goes, oh my God, I'm going to go look this up. Oh my God, he was right. We didn't want him to be right, but he's right. And then they go and share that with their people, and then there's an exponential influential effect. So what do we have here, you ask? United States definition. Yep, if you've been here before, you've heard it before. Follow along here for 1 second. It'll be very quick. It's very quick and easy. United States means a federal corporation. This is right from United States Code 28 USC 3002. 2, in case you didn't know, United States makes its own code. Whatever makes the code. And this is what the code defines your United States as: a federal corporation and or an agency of said federal corporation. And I'll do you one better on this. Very quick and easy. We're going to get right to it. You guys can't say you didn't know after this. You've been given the revelation. This is life-changing information, by the way, in just 2 little pieces. United States business. Source, 15 USC 4724. The term United States business means a United States citizen. B, a corporation, partnership, or other association created under the laws/codes of the United States of any state. So what is a United States citizen? Well, thanks for asking, even though you didn't ask. It is defined by U.S. Code, the corporation itself, as another corporation or corporate entity. That's a problem, some might say, Merger of state and corporate powers is a definition of fascism. This is anti-American. This is anti-life. This is anti-Christo, some have said. I can't necessarily disagree, but I don't want to be labeled conspiracy theorist. Thank you, Julian Barbary. Julian Barbary says, thanks and blessings, Paul. The feeling is mutual, of course. And Horde Creature gives me a salute. A salute to Unslavia. Thank you, Horde, Julian, and a lot of the other regulars for your contributions and support. You are a blessing to I would come here anyway and do what I'm meant to do and give away what I perceive as value, infotainment, so to speak. But it's always better when folks contribute and support non-taxable events known as gifts, right? And that's because I'm so pretty. It's just like if they take out a woman to Red Lobster, they give her something, they buy her, some cheesy biscuits or something. It's because I'm so pretty on here. Folks want to court me, so they gift me from time to time, right? And luckily, these are non-taxable events, and there's no income here, and there's no contracts, and yeah, all based on God's will and the will of the people. So, beautiful thing, I would say. These are good people. We love we love our IRS. These are good people. These people making us a lot of money. IRS. We need more. Some might say we need more. Save American from Jewish terrorism. Well, it's not Jewish terrorism, sir. And they would try to say you're anti-Semitic. I think what you're saying is Zionistic terrorism. And of course, terrorism defined by the FBI and CIA as when an individual or group pushes through threat, duress, or coercion their political beliefs onto an individual. Okay. And you could argue that is going on here all day, every day. On every land with every people across this world, corporations that call themselves government are engaged in terrorism by their own definitions, because they try to tell you, Paulie boy, if you don't vote for a president, you don't pay the slave tax to the corporation, and you don't follow the statutes, policies, and codes that the politicians put forth, we're going to maybe take you to a box, take your property, or do harm to you. That's the literal definition of terrorism. There's no other way to see it or look at it, especially on a free country with a supposed codified constitution, therein outlining this universal law idea that as men and women, we get to pursue our happiness and we get to obtain property. And we don't have to have licenses for lawful activities and all the rest of it. We get freedom from search and seizure, which all of it's been violated. Right to bear arms shall not be infringed, violated by consent, because you all keep consenting. Freedom from search and seizure, violated by consent. They're more and more pushing that with drones over people's private property, cameras installed everywhere. And of course, you don't necessarily have a presumption of privacy in public, but they're pushing it more and more to the private arena. The ubiquitous they, some might say. Palantir, an example of that, as far as I understand. The new Wi-Fi systems, tracking and tracing inside the home, as far as I understand. Potentially Elon's Skynet, as he starts to admit to who and what he is and what he works for. So, yeah, Constitution's only as good as the paper it's printed on. If the men and women who are upholding the law of this land don't know the law or don't have the balls to uphold it because they're too scared about what's going to be done to their body and their things, rather than being scared of losing their fucking soul and discernment in the eyes of God and what the implications of what that's going to create on these lands is. All right, we'll bring in Snafu Snaps, and it looks like we have President Trump here himself. Wow, that's a surprise. President Trump, how are you? Good to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me on your channel. Very beautiful what you're doing. Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You know, I say a lot of things about you when you're not here because I've learned a lot from like show business and news and media that you got to be a fake phony in order to make it, right? So like when you're here, I address you properly. I call you Mr. President. I say you're an amazing man, amazing people, the people around you.
TV show Mike Your Dad's.
Snafu,
I feel like that guy, Mike Your Dad has.
Please. I know a lot of you guys thought that at some point I might become famous or get in front of some important people beyond the few that we've had here, and that I would burn the house down. No. That's not going to happen. Okay. So please, if I have to lick boots, I will. This is a very important man. He's part of a very important cause. Some have said. I think that he's completely, instead of draining the swamp, draining Henry Kissinger's main vein, if you get where I'm going with that. But I talk about that when he's not here. When he's here, I try to show some respect and courtesy. Mr. President, any questions, comments, concerns, ideas that you have going forward on this kind of road to making America great again? I guess, as some have said, as you have said, quite frankly.
Well, thank you for letting me in once again. People can say things in private doors. That's why it's private. Nothing wrong with that. As long as respect is shown in person, there's nothing wrong with that at all. So I admire your respect, and I will reflect that respect back to you. Now, what I'm doing is great for the American people. I care a lot about the American people, and we're going to make America great again.
Right. Now I know you keep saying that. Like, I've heard those, and it sounds great, man. I'm totally with it. Is making America great again? And there's some questions from the audience. These aren't mine. Like stuff like not releasing the Epstein list, saying it was a fraud and a hoax, continuing with the chemtrail campaigns all over this nation, locking down the whole nation and mom and pop corporations while like the biggest four quadrupled their earnings while everyone else went out of business, buying everyone off with a 750 stimulus, encouraging everyone to get 5 boosters, whether you say that it works or not. Now referring to yourself as the father of the vax, saying things like we should take guns without due process if somebody's deemed mentally ill. I mean, I can go on, but are these all things that are part of making America great again? And again, questions from the audience. That's totally not me putting any of that forth, right? I don't really doubt you. I think you're a very powerful and rich, important man, and you've done a lot so far in this life, as we know.
Well, there's a lot of fake news out there, and you may have heard some things. Some may be true, a lot of it probably not. But we're pushing the growth of the American economy. We're doing what needs to be done. And as far as chemtrails, I've never heard of that. What is that? We are doing great things to geoengineer the environment. I'm not quite involved with that, but we're doing some pretty spectacular things to control storms and help the American people, help America, quite frontline, really on the edge of technology type things. So you're going to have to be more specific with one of those questions. As far as the Epstein files, people say, oh, he's involved with Epstein. I was never involved with Epstein. Those are all lies. Those are all fake news. And if you don't believe me, you can just join the phony liberals. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, none of us want to do that, right? We don't want to be called libtards. We don't want to be part of the Democrats. And it seems like that's always what it happens, right? If you question, if you have comments or concerns, immediately you kind of start acting like a libtard and a Democrat. I noticed, Mr. President, yes, he's here. It's a momentous time and an event. I noticed that as soon as you start speaking, this gaggle of citizen slaves kind of just emerges out of nowhere and just starts shouting and screaming what sounds like U.S. slave. It's actually USA. These corporatists, man, you love these people, don't you? These are great people, I'm guessing, because they're kind of just around you at all times, cheering and hollering.
Love me or hate me, wherever I go, there's a lot of attention. I bring a lot of attention. I show up and people say, wow, he's bringing a lot of attention. That's what's happening right now. So I'm doing a lot of big things. Some may like it, some may hate it, quite frankly. And I think at the end of the day, it's for the American people, it's for the American public. And if you disagree with me, well, what are your options? Are you going to vote for Kamala?
No.
Exactly. So you don't have a choice, and you're going to vote for me. And I'm going to do great things. I was with Elon Musk. He left. We had to kick him out. He was being a bad boy. But now things are back to normal, and big things are on its way. And quite frankly, have already arrived. So I'm going to need more specific questions about
Okay. One more, because we're learning a lot here, I think, and you're answering all the tough questions, and you're kind of refocusing us on the things that matter. Okay, and this is what I must have missed about you, and this is why you have been so successful, and you have the support of so many on what I affectionately refer to as slave book, right? It's like my little thing, whatever. So, okay, one last question. What would you say to people who say that you're completely in bed with the state of Israel, almost owned by them, even to the point of pulling out chairs for Bibi Netanyahu and like petting the back of his head? What's that all about, if I can ask? And this from the chat again, from the crowd, right? It's not me. Be clear, Mr. President.
I don't have a choice, and you know that.
Wait, what? What do you mean you don't have a choice?
People say, "Why are you doing all these things for Israel?" I don't have a choice. Okay, it's over.
Well, what about the whole? Remember the ear thing where you got grazed on your ear and you took the 30 seconds out to go fight. We all got so excited by that, inspired. And now you're here with the just kind of a sullen, like somber sort of tone saying it's all over. You just gave up. You don't have any choice. I mean, what is that?
You can fight your enemies, but you have to choose your battles very wisely. And with Israel, you can't really bite the hand that feeds, or should I say, bite the hand that strangles you, quite frankly. What do you want me to do? It's over.
Okay, and it's kind of weird because it's like I thought that we were the hand feeding Israel with the billions and trillions of dollars and the fighting forces and technologies and the aid.
People ask me, but why are you feeding Israel? We have starving Americans. Well, Israel has grown into America like a virus, and we're not getting rid of them anytime soon. So for now, we'll just have to pull out the chair and let them sit at the table. We don't have a lot of leverage, and this goes beyond what most people can even comprehend. And quite frankly, I can't even talk about a lot of this. So.
Right. All right, Mr. President, I'm sure you're a busy man. I'm sure you have a lot to do. I don't want to keep you. I'm going to let you go.
No, wait. Don't do that. I need to bring on my good friend, Cage. Some call him Delta.
Oh, come on, Mr. President. There's no way you're friends with the likes of Cage.
I bully him.
I
bully him. He's a little silly guy, but he's fun to have on sometimes if you can mute him here and there, because sometimes he talks too much.
Right.
It's grandfather Cage, Mr. President. Okay, we pay you.
You're not a grandfather. Take that name away. That's fake news. You're not a grandfather. Take it off. Don't even talk to me.
Well, he's trying to be a daddy. I'm the grandfather.
You're not a grandfather. Gage, in his little caged mind, needs to make up little illusions that he's a grandfather. He's not a grandfather at all.
All right, Trump, I have a pertinent question for you before you leave. I know you're a busy man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. We're waiting. Go ahead.
You see, Mr. President.
What about the terrorists and stuff on Canadian citizens? How do we deal with that, with the industries and that? Does that have anything to do with Israel?
The tariffs on Canada are implemented with strict due diligence and a lot of research and planning. What we're doing is rebounding the American economy. Canada doesn't want to play fair. Canada, quite frankly, is not even a real country. So either we get Canada or Canada is going to drown into the ground.
All right, so can we get the
way or the hard way?
All right, can we get the right to bear arms over and shoot people, or no?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. I'm the greatest deal maker. I make the best deals. People say, "Oh, it's a Faustian deal." Not at all. You'd be getting the American Constitution. You'd be getting the American economy. And all the things that come with it, lower taxes.
Well, technically, Mr. President, your cabinet was just actually, some have said caught. I don't say caught, just revealed that you were altering the Constitution. And later it was said it was a coding error, but it didn't look like that to me. And coincidentally, it was about habeas corpus, right? Because, some have said a lot of us sovereign citizens have been going to court and kind of, holding the courts up or getting dismissals at court because we're wanting them to produce the corpus delicti, the habeas corpus, the body of the crime. Who's the victim?
That's
Where's the
great.
lost
Okay, so
injured
Mr.
arm?
President, I have another question. What do you think about these sovereign citizens and not putting waste on their cars?
Excuse me.
All right.
Don't be rude.
He is
PT,
very rude, Mr. President.
PT Burnham was asking a question. You interrupted.
Very
You
rude.
need to wait your turn. Go ahead, PT.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I need you here more often, man. You are. It's true. Everything they say about you is true. I didn't want to believe it. You are a powerful, inspiring, and amazing man, and you're in your own way. You're a part of something
in real
bigger,
life. I
something
sent
great.
them over here.
Right. I'm shocked to learn that Mr. Donald Trump is, the president of the United States Corporation is actually friends with Cage. This is the most shocking.
It is.
Some
Yeah,
say
you never knew what's
friends.
going to happen, brothers.
Some say acquaintances. Cage threatens to kill me all the time. He's got a lot of issues. So.
Right.
All right. So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Trump, on people riding with no license plates on their car? Is that going to help people or what?
Listen, the Constitution does uphold some strong liberties and freedoms and rights that Americans need. However, these things need updating. I mean, if you're driving a car, we can't have al-Baghdad come here and just drive a car with no license plate. That's not fair. We need to shut down immigration. We need to shut down all these things. If we're going to have a country of sovereign citizens, then we need to stop all illegal immigration and start enforcing the rules. And if you want to change the rules about driving or revert them to a previous time with different wordplay, then that's fine. But it needs
Okay,
to
how about this, Mr. President? We put the wall up. We restrict most people, but we keep a separate wall hole for guys like al-Baghdadi, so that when he comes here, we can ride him like a horse, and then technically we won't have to license. Right?
I mean, if it were up to me, these people wouldn't have any rights because they're not Americans. Hello,
Right.
They're not Americans. They need to go
True.
back, and America needs to be a safe, beautiful country again. We can't have these things, really. So, first things first, we need to make America secure. And then we can maybe look into different things, driving without insurance, different things like that.
Hey, Mr. President, what about Corny and the Corny relationship and, foreign ties to China? What about that?
You're talking about China? Okay.
I'm also talking about Corny from the UK.
You need to pronounce that properly, Carney.
Corny. Corny, yeah.
I congratulated Mark
premier.
Carney on his successful win of the Canadian election. So far, he's been working with us a little bit, not that great, but a little bit. And we've made some progress, but now he needs to go into timeout and think about what he's going to do next because Canada, quite frankly, they're in a lot of trouble. So not good.
Right. All right. We got to go to some articles here. I'm going to be. I don't know what
There's the ultimate
bet
bet for you, Paul. Hopefully you liked it.
Right. We got some articles here. I want to go to the articles and then I'm going to check out of here. Mr. President, I'm going to let you go. I know you're a busy man. Cage, you're also a busy man. I'm going to let you go.
I'm busy. I'm off.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I don't
much,
want to
Paul.
keep
Mr.
you.
President,
I don't want to keep you guys.
Mr.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for
you.
having on my little silly acquaintance, Cage. On. I'm going to go golf at Mar-a-Lago.
Don't worry about me.
Beautiful
Don't
day to
worry
golf.
about Mr. President.
Thank you.
Beautiful day. So thank you for having me. God bless
No,
you.
thank you.
God bless you. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
God bless America.
Okay, Cage. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Goodbye.
No, thank you. All right, Cage and President Trump, everybody. Never know what you're going to get on this broadcast. See? I was here just doing a shitty impression and we got the real thing. I mean, that's big. It's big stuff. Okay, let's go. We did the police arrest 900. Let's go to some video of that. Do we have video of that? Yes, we do. Let's go to some video of carting the protesters off, arresting them because they won't support State of Israel. People in wheelchairs, by the way. Wow. All right, so there you have it. They're carting away old men in wheelchairs and jazzies. for not supporting state of Israel. Bad boys. We got one more here. Doctor, apparently, either protesting or not supporting state of Israel, locked
to
up.
demand the government de-prescribe Palestine action. It was a ridiculous thing to prescribe a peaceful organization. They're not terrorists.
You're a doctor.
I am indeed.
You think it's appropriate they're being arrested for this action?
Well, I'm thinking about all the medical staff, the medical facilities in Gaza that have been destroyed by the genocide, by the Israeli Defense Forces. They've deliberately targeted healthcare workers. Many hundreds have died, and all the healthcare facilities have been damaged, if not completely destroyed, in this onslaught against the Palestinian people. So the people now haven't got access to healthcare like they once had.
Do you know what this police officer is looking for on you?
Possibly any incriminatory evidence, I suppose.
Sorry, what are you looking for, Constable?
So on the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, we can look for anything that may be related to the offence.
Related to the offence? What is the offence?
Probably not at liberty to disclose that. It's between me and this gentleman.
We need to protect our democracy and our freedom to speak out. These are our rights to protest. If we don't, we're going to lose them. We just simply cannot turn a blind eye to the genocide going on in Gaza. I'm here to demand the government de-prescribe Palestine action. It was a ridiculous thing to prescribe a peaceful organization. They're not terrorists.
You're a doctor.
I am indeed.
You think it's appropriate they're being arrested?
All right, so you're not allowed to say any of that. That's not happening. That's not real. You're not allowed to say it. Rocky, you said you wanted to come up. You have some. What is it?
Yeah. Okay. I want to explain to you where Zionism comes from. Zionism comes from false eschatology of being the chosen people. The chosen people are no longer the state of Israel. The chosen people are those who follow Christ, the Messiah, and they reject the Messiah. They were divorced by God in 70 AD when Jerusalem was destroyed. And there's no third temple that's told to be spoken of in the Bible. They're trying to pretend that Jesus hasn't come yet. The tribulation occurred in 70 to 76 AD. The millennial reign is already come and past. We're living in Satan's little season. And the fake Jews they're not God's chosen people. Anyway, it's all based on a false eschatology, which means end times. Jesus came back and he reigned for 1,000 years. They're hiding our history and they're making shit up and trying to get you to believe that the third temple needs to be built in order to usher in the Antichrist. The Antichrist already came. That was Nero Caesar. Nero Caesar was the Antichrist. And we're living in Satan's little season, Revelations 27 through 9. Most of the book of Revelations is history. Jesus was warning those people at that generation to flee Jerusalem because it was about ready to be destroyed. It's not a futuristic thing. That all occurred with that theory that was taught in the 1800s by what's his name? Schofield, the Schofield Bible. That's all bullshit. And so those people over there are not God's chosen people. They're anti-Christ. They don't believe in Christ. They don't believe that Christ was the Messiah. And so how can you claim that they're God's chosen people? That's all from a false eschatology taught in the churches. The churches are guilty of teaching a false eschatology. And that's the plain and simple fact of the matter is they are not God's chosen people. They are Antichrist.
All right, thank you, Rocky. I'm going to let you go. The World According to Rocky.
All
you got
right,
a channel? That should be the channel, The World According to Rocky. Do you have any channel or something?
No, it's the world according to the scriptures.
Right. The scriptures have to be interpreted. No, they don't explicitly state that. That means that each being is the interpreter, potentially.
Right, and they've been misinterpreted. Jesus said in Matthew 24:34, this generation shall not pass before all these things occur. He 2,000 years in the future. He was talking to those people at that time, warning them to flee Jerusalem because it was about ready to destroy it.
All right,
And the
you're cutting
Bible
out. Thank you. You're cutting out.
All
You're going through the mountains. You're cutting out. You have your belief and your interpretation. I have mine. Okay. I don't believe that this is specific to one location in time in history. I think this is a holographic thematic or theme that we see present all throughout history on every land. And we see a mini simulation cycle of that with every people on every land, going back to the original land with the original people, because it is a human condition. It is a spiritual simulation here. It is a light age, dark age cycle, not only on a micro level with each individual's lifetime journey, but on a macro level with all of us humans journeying supposedly through time and space within this universe, right? This one contained holographic simulation based experience. So I don't see how anyone can ever come in here. This is patently arrogant and ignorant. I don't see how anyone can ever come in here and tell me what my experience is. I literally am seeing the Messiah in the mirror, in the sense. I am literally seeing the Christed spirit in every being potentially there, especially gathered certain places with certain understandings and certain energies. I am seeing a state of system use policy and code to interfere with property and rights and the transmission of a holier spirit or sense of self and the understanding of life on life's terms, and that we are not the creator, nor shall we be the destroyer. We are only here to align with that will. I am seeing all of it in myself, outside of myself, in others, in creation, on a micro and macro level, from the beginning of time till the end of time. How is anyone ever going to come here, waste my time and the audience's time, and tell me my experience is not mine because book says? Can we stop that? There's no point. You're wasting your time. I don't believe it. It doesn't make sense to me, and it's averse to my firsthand experience. So I'm not going to listen beyond a certain point. I don't accept it. You don't know my experience more than I do. And it would make more sense that these themes spoken about or written about in that scripture apply to all of us at all times, if it's universal law based. If it's based on the true law of God, then there is no separation between us, and there really is no space between us on some level, epigenetically, if nothing else. And there is no distance between us and those who lived in the past, because we're literally repeating the same fucking themes, the same cause and effect cycle from the beginning of time to the end of time. And there's no way you could deny that, because every land and every people has the exact same fucking story for the exact same reasons. The Bible is only valuable if you can interpret it and translate it and understand it applies to you here, today, now, in this world, but not of it. If not, it doesn't mean anything. It has no power. It has no value. It has no purpose. So it's ironic that people who want to quote the Bible and explain it to me don't seem to understand that I don't not only seem to understand it, I'm living that truth now, and I'm trying to awaken all the rest to live the truth that was written about in there. And that's the same thing Jesus came to do in his day. So one and the same again. Literally who we are, what we're doing, and the message is exactly the same, other than when your Masons put the culted shit on the rest of it. That he was going around walking on water and doing supernatural magic tricks and all the rest of it. There's a core basis for a one truth, one life, one way reality here that we can all connect with and be better off for. And then you all want to take it into fantastical cult land. Because a lot of you, at your core, you're broken children who didn't have the proper mother and father. The schools and the politicians raised you, and now you need a cosmic daddy. And instead of understanding what that supposed sort of, archetypal personification of the Father wants you to know about yourself in this life and what we're here to do, you reject all of that revelation for what you believe the book says or is written there. It doesn't say anything, it's what's written there. I believe it's a false translation and interpretation. I believe the book itself was either given to you by or altered by your wannabe masters Word around town is Disney World and one of these other publishing companies just bought the rights to the Bible and are already altering it. Again, you think they didn't do that before? You just open a book and you just fucking believe whatever's in there from top to bottom, even a bunch of shit that doesn't make any sense that we've never seen before or since? Come on, man. Do I got to hit you with the Joe Biden? Come on, man. I don't work for you, fats. Even though I kind of do, oddly enough, just like he did. But yeah, bro, there's no point in coming here with any of this because I have my own firsthand experience and relationship with life and the truth and God and the story. And no one else has been able to come here and compel me even 1% to believe what it is that they believe because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. And it can't overwrite my firsthand experience. And my firsthand experience is good enough to write my own Bible. Why would I trust your interpretation of a Bible written 2,000 years ago when the same living God works through me and all of us, making it such that I could, in a sense, write some of my own passage in my own verse of the Bible? We could have another edition because it was basically a bunch of guys who were walking around bearing witness and testimony to the Christed beingness, whether it was in Jesus or in everyone else. Isn't that the whole point of the Bible? That Jesus wasn't the only one who got favor from God and was led by God and had stuff revealed by God and was tested and challenged by the devil, tempted? That's like every character in the story. And somehow you fetishists fixate on Jesus and the few passages in there and the teachings from the pastors where he became an immortal superhero. I don't believe this was the original intent of the scripture or what the actual idea of the scripture is supposed to communicate for us to have meaningful, valuable, powerful experience. I mean, again, we've been over this hundreds and thousands of times. The man himself, who you all quote as the supernatural, immortal superhero, said, "We are all children of the Most High. Greater things than I you shall do." How can we do greater things than Jesus if Jesus is the end all be all? Why do you not even listen to your own prophet, to your own God? I don't get it. If you quote the Bible as truth and in the Bible, and then here's where you're going to cherry pick like you all do, because you're fucking, I could set my watch by you. I should start a debate channel where I debate the both sides, because I know you guys, how you lie like a rug, and I could set my watch by you. You'll then cherry pick. I'll take 3 scriptures that prove what I'm saying is true and what I'm experiencing makes more sense. And you will cherry pick one scripture like, there is no way to the Father but through me, and make that the whole of your backbone for your culted false religion. As if you haven't heard me at certain times get into my fucking energy here, preaching how powerful the word and that truth is, living through it, and say something like, I am that am, and act like I'm the only one, and then have to recenter and go, well, actually, greater things than I you all shall do, right? If you really understand what I'm talking about, and we put ourselves to this understanding. So cut it out. The guy was a man. He was fallible. He was hypocritical at times. He said 3 passages before he went and got physical with these people. It wasn't time to get physical with them. I could totally see the walk of that being sitting somewhere like this with an audience saying, this is what we need to do. Look at these people. Look at the women. Look at the children. Look what we're experiencing. Let's do this. And then have people come and say, well, we could build an army, can't we, and fight this? Yeah, I might be able to build an army and fight this, is what the being said, as I understand it, as it's written there. But this is not the time for the sword, right? The same thing I will tell you now today and just did on this broadcast earlier. Another echo from the past, another shadow or reflection of the same idea from the same consciousness and awareness, having the same experience as a human in the same universe, subject to the same laws, with the same corrupt spirit trying to overthrow that. I could also see someone like me at a certain point getting so sick and tired of these scum and having to look at them and deal with them and having them put their hands on me, even if I do keep getting safe passage at court, which some will say is miraculous in itself. I couldn't see me doing that, but I could see someone like me who isn't me. You know, because I would never want to do that, and I want to believe that I'll never do that, right? But someone like me who doesn't know what I know and hasn't seen the other side, so to speak, and doesn't make his whole life out of, at least at the core, a spiritual practice. And even then, like the Christed being in scripture, right? Eventually took the whip out on people and got physical after saying, this isn't the time to get physical. So you all want to elevate this being to a God-man superhero who's different from everybody else. His words don't indicate that. His words point to the same way mine do, if you listen enough, that we're all sons and daughters of the Most High, that we're all capable of greatness if we align with God's will and do the next right thing and serve truth, and therefore our country and fellow man in the world. And if not, then we are damned to eternal slavery and genocide and damnation. This fucking place for the last 2,000 years is proof of it. And the most sad, pathetic part about it is it only takes one by one to just wake up and say, I'm out for this to be over today. The only thing that stands in the way of us living into honorable good faith is the fear that we hold of what's going to happen to our worldly body and things. That means your pleasure, your comfort, your safety, your materials own you. What doesn't own you is God's will and faith to serve the truth and uphold the law of the universe and do what's right. That's why we're in judgment. Pretty fucking obvious, pretty simple. Can't serve two masters. If you serve the worldly authorities, you are not serving God and the truth. The last 5 years in the vax proves it. I could give you 50 fucking simulations that prove it. So I don't need, with that type of understanding based on firsthand experience with no teleprompter that I could just look out or imagine and envision and then talk about, your book low-level caveman-like interpretation does not suffice. It's sorely lacking. My understanding and what I just put forth straight from my own firsthand experience is way more in-depth and co-creative and connective and expansive and inspiring and relatable, and it resonates with our soul and our beingness. See? And it does so for obvious reasons, because it's closer to truth than whatever lie you just told and tried to dress it up and take the power out of our core beingness straight from God and try to put it in the hands of some book or some group or whatever it is. This is what they want. This is what your controllers and masters want. You sucking boot here, complying and cooperating, and then begging your cosmic master to come back and save you from what you all keep creating. I say Jesus is sitting somewhere on a cloud begging you bitch-ass motherfuckers to start living like him. That's how egotistical, narcissistic, and arrogant he is, like they accuse me of being, right? This is, again, a guy who told his loved ones, go away from me, I never knew you. You better learn to hate your mother and father if necessary to serve this truth. Because a lot of your own mothers and fathers and spouses are you literally sleeping with the enemy. They are Babylonian, dyed-in-the-wool, worldly scum, and they know what they're a part of, and they don't give a fuck because they got to get their money, honey. Because it's all about the bottom line. I've witnessed them all here. You've watched them all around me at times. Non-tent creators and otherwise. We know what this place is. We know the dynamic here. We know what we're called to do. We know how few answer the call. And that's why those so few who answer the call are called great here. Because of the rest of you aren't even good. You don't even really want to be good and do good and be a part of having good. If you did, you wouldn't comply or accept any of this crap. And I'm not telling you that it's easy for me or anyone else to do it. And I'm not telling you that I always do it all the way. I'm saying this is what I believe / know, and then have to cope with and figure out how I'm going to activate and move past the fear into faith. This is the understanding of what we all are, where we come from, what we're doing here, and what the whole point is of what we're learning here about ourselves and the law, and how to live in honorable good faith versus how to live in dishonorable fear and materialism and being in the world and of it, right? All right, Rocky, I'm removing you from the back. I really don't want any guests right now. Don't take it personal. I'm not interested in you guys' interpretations and meanings, because 95% of the time there's just nothing there. I've heard it all before. And that's why my next channel, or this channel, should be renamed to Know It All Paul. Like they used to say to me in middle school and high school and pretty much all through my life, certain people in my life who have a reason why they need me or want me to believe what they believe, right? When I have my own understanding and my own experience and I communicate that, stand on that, and I'm unwavering, they say, you think you know it all, don't you, Paulie boy? No, I just don't think you know shit. It's two different understandings. It's not that I think I know it all. It's that I think, based on what I see from most of you, you don't know shit. So why would I listen to you? Reminds me of a song, Italian song.
My son, he's an asshole. We graduated soon. He said, Daddy, I know everything, even know more than me. I said, beautiful, that's a nice. Come on, little sandwich. And when the finish, you go get a job, you son of a bitch. You don't know shit. Every little thing you do, it just don't make no sense. No got no brain, no even a little bit. You think you know? You don't know shit. The lady crossing the street, she bother me every day. Always a run of the mouth, but when I want you to drive away, she always talk a pop. Can't take her no more and sit. Everything she say, just a bunch of bullshit.
All right, I love that one. You tinky, you know. And hey, maybe it's me. Keep me honest. I might be doing it right now. I'm the guy who thinks I know it all, that I have it all figured out. I have the understanding and the experience. And maybe Rocky has the missing piece to my puzzle that I'm not willing to take because I'm so egocentric. Somebody says they used to call you Stinky Paulie. Well, people used to call me a lot of things and still do. I bet one thing that they don't call me, that I call you, is a slave. Okay? There's a lot of other things that people call me and don't call me now that I bet we can't say the same for you. Right? Like not a complete coward. You know, they could say that about me. Paulie's not a complete coward like he used to be, and like the rest of these people still are, including Hakeem. I would bet anything on it. So if you have something to say, if you know me from a past life, there's been plenty of times in my life where I've been low, didn't have purpose and meaning and value, wouldn't bathe regularly, you know. Hey, there might be times now where that's the case, especially when I'm on the land, you know. I may go 2-3 days without a shower. I may wear the same clothes twice in a row. You know, so I may still be Stinky Paulie, right? It's perfectly fine. You know, we can do that. We can experiment like that. But again, just so we can't call you complete coward, just click the link, call in, have the interaction. We're open for it here, right? I suspect that you won't. If you do, you'll talk about everything but what matters, right? Let's talk about what we call Paulie Boy. First of all, most of you, if you did call me something, you never did it to my face. So if you called me Stinky Paulie, it was probably to your other little beta boyfriends behind my back. Because most of you, again, are too cowardly to ever face off with anybody in anything where there's any kind of test or challenge or consequence. I've learned that in life. You know? So I'm not as much interested in what people say about me behind my back because they're too cowardly to say it to my face. Please continue. It's just part of life, right? I've actually gotten somewhat comfortable with the uncomfortable fact that I'm not going to be liked by most people. I'm not even going to be tolerated. That's okay. Right? I'm not for them. They're not for me. Stink or no stink? You're gay, aren't you? Well, for the right price, I think everybody's gay. Potentially. Ask Diddy. Ask Weinstein. Ask Epstein. Ask anyone with the last name Stein. That's what I'm guessing, I guess. No, we shouldn't say that. Excuse me. We shouldn't say that. No, I'm wrong. What am I talking about? Why, Ryan? Are you like offering something? What are you offering, Ryan? I love when men come here and go, hey, you're gay, aren't you? Like, oh, well, what are you into? What are you looking to be a part of with me exactly? I'm always interested in who's out there, who's into me, male or female, and why not? It's an ego boost, right? That's what I'm all about here on some level, as they say. You assume I don't like it here? No, I didn't say that. You got to be very careful about what I say and keeping it in context. Like I'll say, hey, most people here, United States corporate audience, slaves, right? You have to qualify that. Are you that or not? If you see it and you understand it, even if you're doing it, then you're not that. I'm mainly talking about the ones who not only do it, they don't see it, supposedly. And when we talk about it, they deny it. And then they try to gaslight me. Those are the people that frustrate me. Not even the ones who say, yeah, I voted. I know I'm a slave. Yeah, I still pay the tax. I know I'm a slave. Yeah, I got registrations and licenses. I know I'm a slave. If you cop to it and you're willing to be accountable, even whether you're response able or not, you respond differently to that dynamic, I at least still respect you because you're being real with yourself and others. It's the cowards who want to lie to themselves and others and then tell me they don't see it. They don't know what I'm talking about. The words and terms, definitions don't matter. And I'm the mean, crazy person. Oh, those people got a special trigger for me, you know, and I have to work on that because that's a detriment to them, not me. But those are the ones who really inspire me at times the most. That's why I have to be thankful and grateful for them, because part of this broadcast, even if it comes off as a negative energy, frustrated energy at times, it's inspired by those people, right? The people who literally are takeoffs of the same people who are supposed to love me and care for me and protect me, but spend all their time controlling me, putting doubts in me, demonizing me even if necessary, right? Gaslighting me, giving me double talk and bullshit, or just stonewalling me and walking away and shutting the door because they're not going to answer to who and what they are, what they're doing and not doing. So I grew up with this shit. I had to become used to doing a fucking broadcast, in a sense, in my house from day one. That's why at times they'll go, Paulie boy, this is crazy. You'll sit on here for hours, argue with these people, loop in circles. I go, as sick as it sounds, I got used to it early on. I had to do this with my mother, my father, everybody around me who just kept lying to themselves and me, gaslighting me, denying my reality and experience when I turned out to be right every step of the way, from my mother's cancer to the hospitals, to the vax, to the woman God who was with my father, to my father and the money, and all. We can go down the list of all the things. Right again, right again, right again. Is it about me being right? Or is it about them doing wrong constantly and trying to convince me that it's right? That's the fucking problem. Those are the people that frustrate me, and they're my greatest inspiration. They're why I do this broadcast. Okay? So I go from, you never supported me, Dad, to Dad's one of my greatest inspirations because he was an inauthentic corporate beta male coward who lied to me all his life and still does, did it on this broadcast. Okay? And without him being who and what he is and many others in my life, I wouldn't be full of this pain / passion and care to do and be and have better than who and what they are, right? For myself and everybody else. Am I succeeding? I guess everyone else in my life and the people will have to make that determination. I probably can't make that determination. But at least I see, at least I know, at least I have an intention to do something different. And at least I've already had some experiences that reveal something redeemable to me about me in this life. But if you would have left it to these people, I'd have been hopeless again. I'd have been depressed again. I'd have been suicidal and I'd have been on fucking drugs. Okay? And that's not me victiming. Again, this is just pointing out, giving you a peek into my mind and heart set. Why I do what I do is for myself in the present moment, what I have experienced and what I know is meant for me by God now with this truth and a prosperous future. And for the people out there who are living in that still now, because believe it or not, a lot of people come here who are in a depressed, on drugs, drunken state, don't work, and have little to no options for who and what they're going to do and be. And part of my ministry that apparently was revealed to me through a minister at NAAA is that on some level, I'm formed to be a part of whatever the grand scheme is with that. That's part of my work to give back, is the NAAA work with those who come from the traumatized, abusive homes, who lack meaning and purpose, who have been gaslit so much they doubt every fucking move they make and don't like or love themselves and can't serve truth because they can't see the difference between the truth and lie. They've been fucking gaslit so hard. Right? That was me. Not completely, but to some level, right? I always had that deeper intuition. So really, this is why I say when they tell me, like the minister did, well, Paul, you're chosen, you need to do this. On some level. On the other level, I know that's not true completely. Because there was always God within me, my intuition that said, don't believe that. Don't listen to that. They're trying to gaslight you. They're trying to get you to doubt whatever. Now, you always question that because you go, this must be how a crazy person is. Where they do crazy shit, everyone tells them they're crazy, but the voice inside of them or the energy inside of them convinces them that it's okay. Turned out for me, and again, I'm owning it now, at least up until a certain point, I now accept that it's always been inverted. That voice has always been right. It was put there by God. And it's the one thing that fucking protected and leaded and guided and revealed me to do and be and have better. And everybody else who listened to me, including women and other folks in my life who later said that. That thing can't be right all these different times while everyone else is wrong and not be there from God is what I've concluded. And that's just conscience. See? And then what I deduce from that is everyone else either has that or doesn't. The NPCs may not have the inner monologue or the guidance system. But others here, I know they have it. And you know what's worse? They ignore it. They lie to it. They gaslight themselves, just like they were taught all the way down the line. The only difference between me, my father, and others is I'm the one that got away. I'm the one with oppositional defiance disorder who will never listen. I'll never do what you tell me to do. Soon as you tell me to do it, I start thinking about how and why you told me to do it and how I'm going to do the opposite. And if I can't come to a clear, concise conclusion about what your motive and intent is and see it to my benefit, I am not going to listen. I don't care if you all abandon me, which they do at certain points. And I don't care if you all put a fucking jacket on me either, that I'm a black sheep and I'm crazy and I'm schizo and I got an attitude problem and all the rest of it. I'm a dirty sovereign citizen terrorist. Don't give a fuck anymore. So as much as they'll say, Paulie's got a lot of pain and trauma, that's true. It helped to make me what I am today, doing what I do. I'm not probably a great romantic lover, but I'm good for rights, freedom, and principles, spiritual faith. That's enough for me. I'm thankful and grateful for that enough. Doesn't mean I'm not going to still grow and do and be and have better and maybe get better at loving and being co-creative and having romantic love. Maybe even for myself, if not for another being. But with these core values and what needs to happen in this world today, I'm exactly who and what I need to be on some level. And the only way I could be that is if I was formed in the dark, raised in the dark and molded by it. Abandoned and neglected, outcast, alienated. That's how you find God. See? And there's a whole bunch of other people out there, some of them watching and listening today, who have the same fucking story, and they're lacking meaning and purpose, but they got a voice in them that tells them they're here to do something different. And it's obvious when you look out what it is to certain degrees. I don't have to spell it out for everybody, even though I do. Right? So the only way you could get to that position of being a steward of the land and the people and co-creating God's kingdom of heaven is if you are rejected by everyone and everything in this world, including the people who are supposed to be closest to you. We don't like that. We don't want that to be the case, but God works in mysterious ways oftentimes. We're not equally yoked. Go away from me. I never knew you. It's all right there. I'm going to bring in Clint F. As soon as I'm going to bring him in, he leaves. He was waiting back there for a while. I must have said something that either resonated with him and he got inspired to go off and plant something or do a backflip, or he got tired of me ranting and raving and rambling and said, fuck this guy. He's all about himself and his message or whatever. He ran off. So Clint F., if you want to come up, I was just about to bring you up. I was in the middle of a whatever reminder for myself and other selves. They'll call it preaching about what this place is and what we're doing here and why we should stay steadfast and humble before the creational force, but stop demeaning ourselves and dimming our light in front of a bunch of cowards and corrupt slaves who don't want to get with the fucking program because they think their will is beyond God's will, right? That's a problem. That's their problem, actually. It's not even our problem. That's their problem. We could help them, but they won't let us, and that's okay. All right? That's when we go off and do what the fuck we're meant to do and be what we're meant to be. We can't neglect our work for someone else's work. The bottom line. All right, let me check something here. Where are we at on time? 2:42. I can feel it. I got really good at feeling that time, even though I'm not paying attention to it. Someone messaged me. I'll get to that at some point. Okay. Let's go a couple more. Small dick, big nose, whatever you want it to be, sir. Bless you. Okay. You obviously need it. This guy likes to call people cowards. Not what I like or not. It's what the truth of what I've experienced. And I've correlated that to my own self. There is no criticism that is not self-criticism on some level. Me saying most people are cowards does not deny that there's cowardice in me. The practice is moving past our fear into faith. And I've done that over and over again. And I will continue to do that, whether it's for content or non-tent, because it's just part of how I live at this point. I just find value and empowerment, inspiration behind it. I find the antithesis working without it at times. So that's what just makes me feel alive. That's what makes me feel like a man. That's what makes me feel good, faith, and honorable. Going past my fear and faith to do what's true and what's right, exercise rights, uphold the law, and not comply. Okay? All right, we did the arrests for protesting Israel. We got this little
You
ditty.
spend 5 years in jail for disrespecting Israel in America? Yeah, well, this is a thing now. Starting in August, if you burn the Israeli flag, spit on the Israeli flag, say anything bad about Israel online, or even tell a friend to boycott Israel, you could spend up to 5 years in jail and pay a $20 million fine. And this is all because of the U.S. government's contract with the Israeli AI company Palantir. A part of the One Big Beautiful Bill is allocating $250 billion to Palantir that will collect an AI database of everything you do online, also scanning our license plates while we drive in the United States. They will then collect all of this data and determine before you commit a crime if you're a high-risk individual. And in doing so, if you say anything negative about Israel, they're going to put you in a category, even if you just repost a video. And once you're in this high watch category, if you do something like post too much about hating Israel, this now qualifies as a hate crime, which will be a felony. Share and like this video so we can spread the word and take our country back. Did you know that you could spend 5 years in jail for disrespect?
All right. I already said I support that. We need folks to go to jail who don't support these corporations called countries. Why should they? We're not free anyway. Most people know that and have accepted that. And in democracy, apparently, according to them, if 60% of folks accept a concept, well, then the rest of the 40% have to accept it as well. So I say give us more. We need more. They love it. I don't cooperate and comply, and I got results proving that we can do something different. But most people don't want that. They're too cowardly. So I say give us more codes, more policies, more people in the private prisons for not supporting their corporate masters. That's governance. That's order. U.S. bill to ban Israel boycotts faces right-wing backlash over free speech. We can go over that next time. Potentially. What else do we have here? Israel strike on Hamas leaders in Qatar threatens to open peace talks or upend peace talks. And of course, they're bombing everyone now. State of Israel's bombing everyone in the tri-nation state area, so to speak. 4 or 5 nations other than Philistine, as it's called, among other names. What's this? Oh, right. More United States corporate agents saying that Israel's the best country on earth, not even the country they work for.
To Israel. It's an honor to be able to make a difference and to be able to speak in this regard with an administration that I love so much and that I feel genuinely represented by. It's a real honor. And in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel.
Right. So she's on America. She's an American, supposedly a United States corporate agent, and she thinks that America is a secondary greatest country to the first, which would be State of Israel. Okay? Nothing to see here. This. Oh, right. We're renaming parts of California to Tel Aviv Hills in solidarity with Israel. It's almost like we're doing Babylon B here, but no, I think this is an actual news element here. They're literally changing the names of towns in California to reflect names of Israeli towns and villages. So we have cities, rather. We have Tel Aviv Hills in California now after a vote. Well, we voted on it, so I mean.
3-2. Thank you.
A stamp of approval by the Beverly Hills Unified School District Board of Education, passing a resolution meant to combat anti-Semitism in the community and drawing strong reaction from the public and board members.
This is a time right now that Jews are being killed and slaughtered on the street and threats are being happening. So enough.
The resolution would, among other things, recognize May as Jewish Heritage Month, display the Israeli flag at each school and facility, call for education and awareness around Jewish history and culture, and designate October 7th, 2023 as an annual day of remembrance. Supporters say the measure is needed amid rising anti-Semitism to make Jewish students feel safe and supported.
I believe this vote is for the Jewish people, for anti-Semitism, and why there needs to be education and training.
This should be a no-brainer for a school district that represents one of the only Jewish majority communities outside of Israel.
Right. I love it. See, the slaves all come here. They think they're getting my goat, picking at me and making fun of me while I do what's true and what's right on some level and encourage others to do the same. No, I get the last laugh because I get to mock you slaves that you now live in Tel Aviv Hills
and you vote for a daddy who pulls Bibi Netanyahu's chair out and will put you in jail for criticizing Israel, and then takes a third of what you all make every year and gives it to Israel. I fucking love it. You all deserve it. Based on who and what you are and what you serve, you all need more of it. Give them more. Maybe there'll come a day when you stop coming to this broadcast laughing and giggling at me. See what you get? Go ahead and manifest it for yourself. You need it. Oh, this is what the average person thinks when they hear this broadcast, when they see this broadcast. The average voter, right? And this is what essentially the CIA, FBI, or any other corrupt organization, not all of them, but some of them, because there's corrupt people in every organization, at the least. This is essentially what this broadcast is to all these people.
I am J.B. Stoner. I am the only candidate for United States Senator who is for the white people. I am the only candidate who is against integration. All of the other candidates are race mixers to one degree or another. I say we must repeal Gambrell's civil rights law. Gambrell's law takes jobs from us whites and gives those jobs to the niggers. The main reason why niggers want integration is because the niggers want our white women. I am for law and order, with the knowledge that you cannot have law and order and niggers too. Vote white. This time, vote your convictions by voting white racist J.B. Stoner into the runoff election for United States Senator. I thank you.
Right. J.B. Stoner. And sometimes you have to correct J.B. Stoner. Apparently the white women want the niggers as well. So it goes back both ways. That's not my terminology. I don't call them that. They call me the white nigger. Here, another person came today and said, "Are you albino?" Right? I must be. That's how I get treated. You know? But I just, in the interest of fairness, you know, and of course being a bit tongue in cheek there, right? Come on, man. We're allowed to have some fun here, make some jokes here and there, you know. It's all good fun. We don't have hate in our heart here. There's no actual races. It doesn't really exist, right? We're not colorist here, you know. Oh my God. Come on. Don't do me like that. I love black people. I love black people. I grew up with these people. Lovely people, some of them. Many of them. Yeah, we can make jokes like that because there's no hate in our heart and we actually love black people here. And I've said many times, I actually resonate more with a lot of black folks than I do with inauthentic corporate male white status trash. You know, because, you know, a lot of black folks, they do what the fuck they want. They don't care about policy and code. They're going to live free. You know, they let their nuts hang, as they used to say in various facilities. You know, and that's somewhat honorable. You know, it's manly, respectable. Now, do they always take their freedom and do the most positive things with it? Maybe not. You know, but you got to start somewhere, right? That's how you learn. That's how you grow as an individual and as a people. Is to be truly free, do what you want to do in order to make mistakes and learn what you need to do and not do. Okay, so for that, I love black people. We love these people. Very free people, these people. Almost a little too free, if you ask me. That's why we're deploying the Navy. It's for the black people. You're the Nazi. You don't know the difference between your and your. Y-O-U-R-E. That's usually a first clue that you're a dunce, is when you come in here and don't know the difference between T-O, T-O-O, Y-O-U-R, Y-O-U-R-E. You guys all do this regularly. That's my little intelligence test for you. I go, you have no room to tell me anything. You can't even write the English language and understand conjugation, contraction, and all the rest of it. All genders are black people. Well, that's the thing we learn, right? If you go deep enough down these rabbit holes, Irish and Italians are actually part black, they say. You know, there's overlay there. Who knows, man? Are you still on nanobots in the bloodstream? Oh, Bob Greene is back. The guy who doesn't know about, so then it doesn't exist. These are the boomers who, when they don't know about something, doesn't exist, right? It's one of their great qualities in life.
Not all of them, just many of them. Right? We're doing stereotyping here. So since Bob is back, even though he said he was leaving, because I'm just so damn crazy and don't make any sense. Yeah, right, Bob. Telling yourself that to cope, right? I get it. A lot of these people, they're regular people. They got to cope in order to like go through their day today and do the next wrong thing and call it right. But at some point, they'll get it. They'll hang around here. It'll start to click. They'll start to fucking wake up, and then they'll tell their grandkids about Paul Enslaved. No, they won't, because they're too proud to give me any credit, and that's okay. The Tao reads that when you lead people, by the end of it, they all say, hey, we did it ourselves. If you're a good leader. It's good when they never give me credit. They never bring me up. They just go and tell their grandkids, oh my God, I realized the United States corporation is a corporation. Oh my God, withholding agent. Oh my God, taxation, income. Oh wow, resident, residual. All these words have root words and meanings, and they'll go back to a certain concept, an idea of collectivism versus co-creationism. Communism, collectivism, Marxism, Satanism all have a lot of the same things in common, oddly enough. Okay, we got JR. What's up with Donnie? Let's get some Donnie.
I think it's
Gaza
an
Strip.
incredible piece of important real estate. You know, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone. You know what I call it? A great location that nobody wants to live in. I don't understand why Israel ever.
So they take it over, bomb it, burn it down, name it the freedom zone, and go, we don't know why anyone else want to live here. I love that. This is the art of the deal, folks. By the way, that one clip, I don't know if you could hear it or not, but that one clip is literally the whole book of Adani's art of the deal. You just fucking do bad shit. You lie about it. You get other people around you to like you because you're powerful and rich, and they lie about it with you. And then you sit back and go, I don't understand why XYZ, fill in the blank. I don't understand why no one wants this property. We just called it a freedom zone while it's still on fire. Well, there's blood everywhere. Donnie's like in a hurry here to sell some more gold cards, citizenships, and get everybody on the beachfront property at the Gaza resorts, right? He's going to put in some fucking slot machines. Clint, your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, sir?
I guess I want to know if you can hear me first.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. I guess that's good. I decided to quit being a chicken shit and come up here and show my face and tell you how much I don't want to admit that I'm a dumbass, but you know what it is.
Do any of us really? I mean, isn't that the game, right?
Nobody does. Nobody does, but I guess part of my problem is that I have for too long, and I've maybe convinced myself and caused myself bad energy by doing that. And my brother says, don't say that. Don't say that. You're not a dumbass. You're not a dumbass. And I said, but look what I did. Look what I did. So it's hard to run away from, you know?
Right.
For me anyways. But I wanted to tell you about how much of a, you know, anyways. I've been going to court here lately for the last couple of days. It's hard to remember. Today I went and they picked a jury for me getting pulled over for not using my blinker, and then arguing my Fourth Amendment with the she deputy. And so, you know, I wanted to represent myself, and in a sense, they appointed a counsel for me, and I accepted. And I think he's just, you know, I know the story that they're officers of the court, and I told him I wanted to do the birth certificate thing, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I had looked up something earlier, and he just kind of looked at me funny, and I didn't do it right off the bat. So what ended up happening was I got up there with him and in front of the judge, and the judge scrambled the mic so anybody else in there couldn't hear what we were saying. And the judge says, well, before we get started with all this, you need to enter a plea. And I said, no, I'm not pleading. I said, that's begging, isn't it? And he goes, sir, for us to continue, you need to enter a plea. Anyways, I ended up losing my cool and talking over him and shit. So he said, hold him in contempt. So they handcuffed me and took me in the back.
So why do you do that when I keep telling everyone to just put the 3 to 5 lines on paper and essentially have like 3 kinds of documents in one and not interact with them if you can't hold court in a way where they can respect themselves and you, which most people are not going to be able. I get it because you got to learn. So it's one of those things where I got to critique you for it because it doesn't make sense. But then the only way to learn is to do what doesn't make sense.
I hear you.
If that makes sense. Right?
Yeah,
it does. Did you put the 3 to 5 line sort of what I will call, Carl doesn't like it. I don't care because Carl's not my daddy, oddly enough. I could like him, be inspired by him, respect him and his work, and even replicate that in some ways and then add on to it. But, I'm going to call it a multiple, what they call on the legal side, conditional acceptance, affidavit, proof, a statement of intent, right? Affidavit of status. There's a bunch of different things that people are going to call it on the legal side or on the sovereign citizen side. I don't use those terms outside of maybe here calling it that just to have something to call it. Because to me, it's about 5 things in one, and it's 3 to 5 lines. And it covers all the bases without getting into anything specific. So it typically doesn't trigger them, right? This is why I say, it's pretty simple because you put the 3 to 5 lines down, and then all your interaction with the administrator and the prosecutor, anyone else is, who are you? Are you speaking to me as a man or as a whatever? And then they're going to answer, okay. And then, of course, it has to correlate. If you're speaking to me as a corporate entity, I can't talk to you. If you're talking to me as a man, well, then I'm free to ask questions. You're free to question me. You're never going to come in the capacity of man usually. So that means there's nothing to talk about. Did you get the notice? Do you understand it? Just like they do. Mr. Laporta, did you get the charges? Do you understand them? I'm doing the same thing they do the other way. There's no room for contempt. Right? So, no, I didn't understand the charges. I don't know what any of this is. I don't have any man or woman here who I can face as an accuser. So the court belongs to me. Now, this person caused me loss, injury, or harm, interfered with my property and rights. Do you want to hear about that? No, we're not taking testimony today. You're going to plead or stand mute. Great. I'm not begging. I will stand mute. Did you get my claim? Do you understand it? Everything is yes or no. No, shut up. I don't want you. Okay, fine. I'm not even going to interact with you beyond a certain point because you are in contempt. You're being contemptuous, and I'm not going to escalate. I'm going to de-escalate. I got all my facts on the record. I got who and what I am on the record. I'm telling you what I'm going to do and not do, and I'm requiring under law the proper process and procedure to be upheld. You don't want to do that? Do whatever you're going to do, and then I'll do whatever I'm going to do. Because after they show me that and they do that beyond the first or second meeting, if they get to a third or fourth or whatever, and they don't do what they're supposed to do, and they don't bring in the valid verified claim and the man or woman to face the accuser and all the rest of the proper process procedure, I just tell them I won't be presenting at this venue anymore. I don't know what kind of court this is. It's interesting. It's entertaining. It's fun. But I don't want to waste my time here, so I won't be presenting here anymore. Right? At some point, you got to set your marker and enforce it. At some point, you got to say, I'll play along and I'll be a part of even upholding the law. There's no game in that. But you want to play games with me and then rewrite the rules on the spot and not be honorable in good faith. I just check the fuck out. You get nothing from me. I gray rock you. Then you could come get me and drag me back if you don't want to interact with me. Then you're going to have to litigate me for months because I'm not going away. I'm not going to present just because you say I have to. I'm not going to beg and plead because you say I have to. I'm not going to claim I understand the charges, and I'm going to object, and I'm going to ask you where the moving party is. Where's my accuser? Where's the legitimate charging instrument? Okay, it says state of on there. Bring Mr. and Mrs. State of in. Oh, you don't want to do that? You can't do that? This is some sovereign citizen mumbo jumbo? Okay. I got God-given rights. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. If you don't bring in anyone with loss, injury, or harm, or a debt, I'm not going to say nothing, and I may not even come back here. Because it's all nonsense, right?
there is no reason to get loud and nasty. There is no reason to argue with anybody. They're either going to give you your way and the way, or they're going to try to play games with you and steamroll you. In which case, you put your paper on file and you let it ride. Because that's the most powerful thing in the court case anyway, is your claim on record on file with nobody else on the other side. So as it stands, they have a correspondence. It's from a man. He has God-given rights. He's saying he'll settle with anyone if they come forth. Nobody's come forth on the other side. The court belongs to him by default. You go into default judgment. Now, if they're not going to do that and play rules properly, and they're going to say the state of is here somewhere, and this guy's called the people, and he's going to talk for it, and we're going to do multiple puppets at once on the hand, talking for it. Done, over, not playing, object, this is nonsense, you don't want to follow what's true and what's right, I'm out. And then you can come drag me back and steamroll me and whatever else. It's just got to kind of be that way, it would seem to me. Whether we like that or not, whether that's scary or not, whether they recognize that or not. You know, the only other alternative is they're just going to keep lying and playing power games and steamrolling everybody, and nobody's going to fucking stop cooperating and complying. And it's just going to get worse. You know, so at some point you got to set your marker and enforce it. It's not from a disrespectful sense. It's from a sense of surrender and faith in your conviction. I got nothing to fight and argue with you about. I know who and what I am and what I'm not. I know what I'm going to do and not do. And I know what you have a right to tell me to do and not do. You only have the power I give you. That's based on the foundation, the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and all the rest of it. You don't want to follow all this crap and do what you already know in your mind and heart is right and treat everybody like a man and have private property and pursuit of happiness and prosperity, then you're already going to live in hell anyway, whether I'm here or not. So fucking enjoy it. But I'm not going to create it as much as possible. That's all we're really saying to ourselves and each other, right? I'm going to be a part of creating this as least as possible. There's nothing to fight and argue about. I'm on this side. You're on that side. Here's the facts. You're going to go with them or not. Hasn't failed me yet. Now, on the side of getting compensation, it's not going to be that easy. They're going to make me work for it. But on the defensive side, it hasn't failed me yet. And it's gotten other people some pretty good percentages as well. Your thoughts? I think I'm going to wrap up here soon. I'm starting to hurt, man, more than I was.
I didn't realize you've been on for 3 hours. I just decided, you know what, I need to go ahead and just show up there and to your broadcast and not be a chicken shit. And so here I am. And I'm not going to say I tried, because if I say that I failed, then I basically failed today, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, it's a learning process. I didn't start learning a long time ago like I should have, and here I am now. So hanging in there.
So I get that, man. You don't got to be hard on yourself. We're all learning, right? It doesn't pay you to be hard on yourself. Just learn how to lose in order to learn how to win, right? Is all it really is.
Yeah. Anyway, that's about all I got.
But come back, Clint. You know, be here more often. Throw some stuff at me. I'll throw something back. As you get more experience, you'll learn more. And some of them are probably going to help you along the way as well, as much as you don't believe that. I know I didn't believe that. But a lot of these people at the courts, in between interfering with your property and rights, they know the game and they want it to change, or they don't believe in it. So they will help you. They'll throw you a bone here and there, or at least give you a starting point.
You know, you told me that when I told you that I assumed that she handed me that little pink paper with that had the address and the federal court of Galveston written on there, that I needed to show up there and that they were trying to trick me to miss my court date. But you were most likely right, that she was giving me a bone, saying, look, dummy, go over here and file a suit against them. You know, and I did go to the federal court and got the paperwork to file a civil suit against that court that I'm in now. And I haven't done it yet, but I really have to get past this, or either let them put me in jail for a while so I can chill out, because it's wearing on me. So, but I'll come back, and like I said, I had to just come up here because I've been chicken shit to come up here. And Carl, I slept really good last night, and I had texted Carl a few times and told him, look, I'll donate what I can. And I went to bed early last night, and he evidently texted me at 10:30 at night, and I had already gone to sleep, had a good sleep actually. And the question that he asked me at 10:30 was, do I have a birth certificate? And I do. And I texted him back that this morning and never got a reply until quite a bit later, actually after everything was done today. And which was just the one word, gotcha. Anyways, I realized after listening to some other stuff about how to use a birth certificate that the one that I had folded. So I ran 45 minutes and got a brand new one. Didn't fold it. It's perfect. Anyways, I'll tell you next time the rest of it. I'm going again tomorrow, so we're gonna see what happens, I guess. I did get to tell the prospective jurors, 24 of them, what Luke 11:52 says. I know you know what that is about. Woe unto ye lawyers. I asked them
again. I mean, I don't do any of this. I'm not there to preach to them or save their soul. I'm there to be recognized as man on record with some level of God-given rights and freedom. So if they want to read the Bible, they read the Bible. I'm not here to push the Bible down their throat. They're here to test and challenge all of you on who and what you serve, just like they are with me. So you can quote scripture all day, every day. That doesn't mean nothing. I meet people all day, every day who repeat what's in the Bible. They don't fucking live it. Once you live it, you won't have to repeat the Bible, and they'll know God's man is standing in front of them.
They gave me a chance since I'm representing myself. Now they did give me a counselor, but I was able to go up and I forget what it's called, where you ask the potential jurors, questions about how they feel about cops and this and that and the other. And I went and asked them about, did any of them know what the Fourth Amendment said? Do any of them know what the Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution says, and this and that and the other? And so, I decided, I'm going to ask them if any of them had ever read this certain verse or chapter in the Bible in the courtroom, whether the district attorney and the judge and everybody sitting there. And I asked them, have y'all ever read Luke 11:52? And then I read it to them in the courtroom. And that was fun for me, right? That's it.
I'm curious about this statement. Red 40 says, Rock, I think OTW and slave state were right. Can you give me some more detail on what that means? All right, Clint, I'm going to let you go, man. I'm going to wrap up here. Come back on the next one. If you want to talk to me privately, you can reach out to me. I'll interact. But yeah, man, I think this is a long game. I think it's a spiritual simulation first and foremost. And I think the more that we understand that and lean into that, the more that we become who and what we're meant to be on the physical side of things. And then we get more recognition and respect, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Appreciate you. You as well.
All right, you too. Bye.
Clint, going past his fears coming up, it can be a bit intimidating. All right, folks. Appreciate the contributors and supporters. You are, as always, a blessing to Okay, Scott, I see what you're saying. Yeah, back who knows when, if not tomorrow. It's been about every 4 days. I'll try to hold to that. But yeah, man. At the end of this, we all know that each individual person is responsible for themselves and what they do in the world. Nobody else can do it for anybody else, right? Such is life. So, say goodnight to the bad guy on the way out. Paul Unfallible. As ironic as that title is. Yeah, I'm out of here.
I'm more than happy to take a peek at the title if you're willing to give it.
Starring Brian.
Yeah, I'm sure you are, but that's my thing. I'm not trying to give up
My
information.
fault. I just thought you said you were willing to show.
Right. It's important to get every single person and piece of property registered and identified with a state of and a corporate entity. We just gotta do it. It's gotta happen.
Questions like why I do what I do, why I am the person I am, and how you can't see that by coming up to a man and trying to identify him. Like a piece of plastic doesn't identify me. That's not me. I am me.
Why do we all pretend like it's better to exchange little plastic pieces to pretend that means anything about who I am, that am is, or what I am, that am is, or what it's connected to? Better yet, right?
So that is the greatest resource and source of order and co-creation. The little plastic pieces don't do it any justice.
This is like my personal journey.
Dude, it's crazy because if you would have just given me your name,
If you guys would adjust, right? This is your logic. This is the logic of a tyrant, right? This is the logic of a horrible parent. This is the logic of an authoritarian everywhere. If you would have just did everything that we told you and asked you, we wouldn't try to make your life harder and do loss, injury, and harm to you. That is the rallying cry of tyrants everywhere from the beginning of time. Go fuck yourself. You don't get to tell us what we're going to do and be in life. All you teachers, all you parents, all you authoritarians, all you false prophets, you don't get to tell us what we're going to do and be in life at the expense of rolling up your sleeves and doing harm, like the Tao says. You know, all you subjective moralists, all you solipsists, who you and your dogma is the only thing in creation that actually exists that you can confirm.
But say, if I would have just complied, if I would have just done what she wanted, maybe that'd be better for me. Nah, if you would just maybe listen to what I'm saying, maybe it'd be better for you. Maybe, just maybe you're making a mistake. Maybe you shouldn't be doing this to people. Maybe you're like security guard for someone you don't even know. You're a security force for an invisible entity. You're working for, you don't know, you might be working for the devil.
Stop telling other motherfuckers who may be born and may be meant to be here at this time to influence all of us to do better and be better and have better, to just stop and just shut up and just go away. You're ahead of the game. No, fuck that. It's called free expression. It's called getting really real with ourselves and each other. It's called gambling, cosmic gambling on the truth and on faith. You didn't just hear him? You didn't just hear him? He said he's waiting for the day, just like I am, when they actually can show me that they can hurt me.
Just so you know, you should be cooperative in that way. Does that make sense?
But let's see, we can disagree.
That you have.
To submit, comply, and obey. I don't have a responsibility to submit and comply and obey to you guys. I don't. I have an authority to God, and I have an authority to my spirit. Like, so you guys, it doesn't matter what you guys do. Like I said, you guys could take me to jail. I only get better and level up from this stuff. You guys have never hurt me yet. I'm waiting to see when you guys can hurt me. When you guys take me to jail, when you guys try to do something to hurt me, it never works. You guys never teach me a lesson. You guys are never going to come up to my car and say, and then later on be like, okay, I'm going to give you the ID this time because I went to jail that time. I'm telling you guys, man. And this ain't just about me and my dirty ass in this car. I'm speaking a truth that's beyond me in this fucking car and my goofy presentation.
all right. So, Mr. No Name, we're gonna go with it. I want you to know what we legally are allowed to do, and then I want to proceed with what we're going to. And today we're gonna serve you by just calling it good as is and leave it alone and hope we don't have any later run-ins. How's that sound?
You guys do, all three of you, like your energy, like I deal with officers in situations like this, and our people do too. Like I mess with your energy. Like, even though you guys, we might not be connected, like you guys could do things to me. Like, even the language, like we could like cause loss, injury, or harm to you, but we're just not going to. That's how it is to me and my people.
It's us enforcing the laws thereof. Yes.
Right, but we as human beings to one another, yeah. Like we all come from families, we're all brothers and sisters. Right. That's the kind of how I looked at it. Like we don't even get along with our own families a lot. So we're at the dinner table and we're having a discussion about something. That's how I look at it. And you guys are saying we can legally do this, we can legally do that, but we got to get back to the spirit of our gut instincts. It doesn't matter what's on all these papers.
You guys are like
anyways,
weekend, dude.
Can you tell my partner?
I mean, I don't care if I go to get arrested tonight, bro, but you guys are weekend, dude.